Survey reveals the favorite ice cream flavors in Missouri and Illinois.
Call it plain or call it a classic, but vanilla continues to reign as America's most ordered ice cream. In fact, vanilla accounted for 27% of all ice cream sold. Moose Tracks has a strong hold in the Midwest, including Illinois, Indiana, Wisconsin, Ohio, and Michigan, where it was created. In Missouri, the number one ice cream choice is cookie dough, followed by vanilla and chocolate, cookies and cream, Moose Tracks, and cherry. The results are from the share of ice cream sold on Instacart. Sobe Bay, KTRS News.
This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. You can place your order anytime at WKF.com. In the markets at close, the Dow is up 179 points at 44,502. NASDAQ down 81 at 20,892. And the S&P 500 up 3 at 6,309. And now let's check in with Paul for KTRS Sports and Traffic.
Steve, the Cardinals send Eric Fetty to the mound for Game 2 of a 3-game series in Colorado. Last night, Michael McGreevy was terrific in another spot start, going 7 innings in a 6-2 win over the Rockies. Wilson Contreras had 3 hits, including his 13th home run. And Illinois football was center stage at Big Ten Media Days today. The Illini was picked 4th in the league's preseason poll, behind only Penn State, Ohio State, and Oregon. I'm Paul Kopsky from the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk, and now on to traffic. An accident on eastbound 70 at Goodfellow is blocking the left lane and causing a stop and go back up to Bermuda. Southbound 270 is crowded from north of Olive down to Manchester, and there's a stalled vehicle blocking the right lane of eastbound 64 at McKnight. This traffic report is brought to you by Neighbors Credit Union. If you're ready to upsize, downsize, or first-time home buy, turn to the team at Neighbors Credit Union. At Neighbors Credit Union, you'll find great rates, expert advice, and personalized friendly service throughout the entire home loan process and beyond. That's just what you'd expect from a great neighbor. Apply online today at neighborscu.org. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Our forecast calls for an extreme heat warning to remain in effect until Thursday evening at 7 p.m. We do have a 20% chance for an isolated shower today, with heat index values as high as 107 both today and tomorrow. Look for an overnight low of 78, then sunny and hot again tomorrow with a high near 97. At 3:09, we have mostly cloudy skies, 95 degrees at the Gold Tower at Westport. Steve Potter, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
What have we learned about Heidi?
But cockroaches were the least of her problems. Heidi had to fight for every opportunity.
You know, Heidi is, even though she's very kind of sweet and innocent,
Heidi wanted out of the slum, and her agent wasn't doing enough.
Oh my God, they moved Heidi right next to me now.
Although Heidi seems serene,
she's a bit naughty.
she uses an ancient folk remedy to help calm her down.
Heidi is back.
It is another hot one, and it's even steamy in this studio because Josh Gilbert is back from his vacation.
Mr. Vegas, aggressive gambler.
Indeed. Josh Gilbert, Bob Ramsey, and yours truly, Heidi Glaus, and we've got a lot to get to this afternoon. We'll talk about Josh's shenanigans in a couple minutes, but let me tell you what we have coming up. We're going to talk to the founder and president of Firebird Forensics Group. This is a woman who came out of retirement and helped solve the Golden State Killer case. And the way she did it was through genealogy DNA. It's very interesting. She was featured on one of our favorite shows, CBS Sunday Morning, a couple of weeks ago, and was just fascinating. So we'll talk to Barbara Ray Venter coming up here at 3:30. We'll also check in with Peter Chambarloos with ABC News. It looks like the deputy AG is going to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell, who, of course, was Jeffrey Epstein's girlfriend for a moment, and then the woman who kind of gathered the girls, if you will. We'll find out what they are looking for there. In the 4 o'clock, we'll talk to Ryan Kroll from St. Louis Magazine. It looks like the city is telling the Police Oversight Board to stop providing oversight. So what exactly is behind this? And what did the Oversight Board look for anyway? What were they put in place for? We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about an alderwoman who wants more carriage houses. And living in the city in a historic neighborhood, there are carriage houses all over. I actually enjoy walking the alleys just to see them because they're fantastic.
This is my question for Ryan, though, and maybe by extension for the alderwoman. Why do you want more carriage houses?
Well, I don't know that she wants more. I think she wants it to be easier to actually build them if it's something that you want. Yes, because I think there's a lot of different zoning issues and hoops you have to jump through. And on the small parcels of land that you have in the city, if you're going to add what others might call a mother-in-law suite, the only place to really do that is kind of your garage or what is there.
But so you can do the mother-in-law suite, but then like even further, they're like, oh, this could be, one of the solutions for population density. Would you want to rent that out to a stranger?
People do.
People do all the time. And I would say that's probably the number one thing in my neighborhood that they're used for.
But you can rent it out without having to buy another property for rental.
But now you're sharing your backyard with somebody.
Well, it depends on what rules you make. And it's honestly, a lot of them don't have backyards. Like, we're really fortunate because we have a side yard. But there are plenty of people that don't. They have the carriage house, and maybe there's a little space there, but you work it out.
I was always so fascinated. I met a kid at a party years ago. And you know those houses on Lindell, the big ones?
Yeah.
Which I drove past the other night going to the Muni. And
the backyards are devastated.
A lot of them, the front yards, they're all boarded up.
Yeah.
One of them, you could see the carriage house or the garage house in the background. And he said, I lived in one of those. I said, well, how do you know the people that live in the house? He goes, I don't.
Yeah.
They just rented it out to me.
That's the case in a lot of...
even those big houses on Lindell, they're renting out their garages.
I don't know if they're
in there, and
there's a lot, and you can also use them for a family member. I was saying earlier, I mean, our house would be really hard if we had to move in either one of my parents or Marcia's because it's steps. It's not a ranch. It's going to be challenging. So if you have a carriage house in the back, you lose your garage maybe. But you can turn that into, something of an apartment, and one of our parents could actually stay there. So there are definitely some advantages to it. So we'll have that conversation with Brian at about 4:20. We'll also check in with Mike Dubusky, ABC's tech reporter. OpenAI has a new agent to rival ChatGPT. I don't even know what I just read. That's how... untech savvy I am, but we kind of talked about...
I thought one of us had just had a stroke.
Right?
Because either you were messing it up or I couldn't hear it right.
But we're going to have Mike walk us through it and tell us more about what ChatGPT can do and what they've added now. What is an agent to this? So we'll talk about that. We'll also have an interesting discussion with an author of Play Harder, The Triumph of Black Baseball in America. Dr. Gerald Early is going to be at the Clark Family Branch this evening, but first he's stopping by here to kind of tell us about the role that black athletes played in baseball, who, founded the Negro League. So we'll kind of go back in history with him coming up at about 5:10. We've got some other entertainment news, and then and only then will we wrap this show up with some random. So, Josh, what was the highlight of your trip?
Okay, so in my 20s, we would go out to Vegas to gamble, to drink, to party.
Because you had so much money in your 20s.
Wink, wink. Well, it was actually affordable back then, somewhat. It has gotten to the point where now I'm talking to industry people. I'm talking to people who run entire food beverages for casinos, and they are saying internally they have come to the conclusion Vegas has gotten too expensive.
I've heard that from several different.
Meaning that their price point is too high and they're going to start losing customers, or it has to be too high to make a profit?
The first one.
Okay.
He said specifically people from L.A. would come out for a quick weekend just to get away and have a lot of fun. They're not doing it anymore because it's too expensive to do it just on a whim on a weekend. And by the way, everybody I sat down at a blackjack table over the weekend was from L.A.
Yeah.
And I was, did you drive here? They said, no, I flew.
And what is that? An hour flight? You're up and down easily?
Not even that,
It's like here to Chicago, right?
Yeah.
Less than that. So this was a food trip, at least for me. It was a food and pool trip. And the best thing I ate was pasta from Italy, which is weird because they've got those in other cities. And from one of the best restaurants in Vegas, as voted by their version of the RFT, whatever that is, the Vegas FT. This place called Esther's Kitchen, and it was the steak tartare appetizer.
Ooh.
Wow.
Really?
You guys ever eat that?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it literally looks like you put the hamburger out on the counter.
Yeah, we're not doing that.
And then put an egg on top and serve it. And it's like, oof.
Delicious.
But it was so good. Mm-hmm. It was so good.
Sydney Street has a great beef tartare.
Do they?
Yeah.
Okay. So for me,
that was good.
Yeah.
How was poolside?
Poolside was great.
Were you topless?
I was. 110 degrees. So if you got too high, you just got in the pool.
Was it crowded, or was there enough you didn't have to get down and mark your territory early?
You kind of had to do that a little bit, or pay a little extra to guarantee a lawn chair. But my wife went out with her girlfriends to go to see the Backstreet Boys at the Sphere.
Mm-hmm. Did they love it?
That was their purpose of going on that trip. And my wife's not even a super fan, and she said it was otherworldly.
Wow.
The band or the actual venue?
She said the band had no pretensions. They knew what they were there for, play the hits.
Yeah.
And then the venue lived up to all of her expectations and more. So if you want to go out to the Sphere, you got the seal of approval from at least my wife.
Okay.
Even if it is the Eagles.
Oh.
Not the Eagles, man.
Not the Eagles.
Yeah.
Get your own cab.
Well, interesting. We're actually heading out in a couple of weeks because that's where we got married, and we'll be celebrating 10 years. And we're like, well, why don't we just go back to Vegas? So that's what we're going to do.
I stayed at the Venetian.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's where we're staying.
It's got that. You should, because it's been the best hotel I've stayed at out there. And I've hit them all.
I've done them all.
I've done them all. And I really like a theme. You know?
Yeah.
I like a theme.
What about the gambling? You came back with your shirt on.
Played twice, 2 nights. Lost 200 the first night, won 100 the second night.
And playing blackjack?
Just blackjack.
Okay.
I wanted to play craps, but it wasn't in the cards or
so
the
what
dice.
I hear you saying is it's Big D who's the bad influence when you're playing until 1 a.m.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. When I go out with Darren, that's specifically for gambling.
Well, he's high energy. I can't see him ever shutting down.
No, I'm not sure the man sleeps, but he's a lot of fun.
We went out to 3 a.m. that one night, and he was already texting me by 6 the next morning.
You know what that reminds me of? Somebody used to be in my life, Mike Shannon.
Really?
Never stop.
Really?
Out late, get a nap.
Get going again.
And get up and tea time at 6:30 a.m.
Golly.
The older I get, like I got terrible sleep this past trip because I was drinking, staying up late. I'm like, I'm going to go on a vacation where I don't drink. I just get a lot of really good sleep.
Oh, that's so boring.
You know, maybe I need to go to one of these med spas. Go out to the desert.
Go to the mountains like Jen and I do.
Massages all day.
You can sleep when you're dead.
Well, see, that's the hard part.
Yeah, come
then you're
on.
like, you know what?
Live life.
You're in Vegas.
I'm thinking about taking a nap right now.
Some of our listeners might be too. I saw this today and I thought, oh man, this is so true. Things you don't actually need, but you still keep anyway. Tell me if you agree or disagree. The box your phone came in.
I have 3 of those.
I do too. And why? Once it comes out, I mean, if you need to know anything, you Google.
I had about 4 of them stacked up not too long ago when I got this last phone. I guess it was last year. I finally had to go, what am I doing?
I know.
Yeah.
So I finally did throw
Toss
them away.
'em.
But I think I had 4.
What about the chargers for devices you don't even have anymore, but yet you still have that cord somewhere?
I brought in, it's called a USB-C Mini.
Oh, boy.
I don't even know what it charged up my digital camera from 15 years ago. I don't have a camera. I don't need the cord.
I got a little cord on my desk at home. It's, 5 inches?
Yeah.
5 inches long. It looks like it goes to something.
I was going to say mystery cables that you don't even know what it was for.
But it looks really good and new. It goes to something, but so I can't throw it away, right?
No, random screws. I will keep.
Oh, yes.
And that kitchen drawer that has everything.
The catch-all.
There's 4 random screws in there because you never know when you're going to find it.
Here's where I'm good about that. Those kinds of things, I have a thing that has all the different sizes of screws and bolts and washers in the garage. And so I will take them out there. That's one of the few things that I'm organized in.
You mentioned the phone boxes. I get my glasses from Warby Parker.
Ooh,
right?
Fancy is
No,
right.
they're actually super cheap.
Really?
Yeah. But they come in these nice, hard, cases. Well, I keep them. Well, I've had like 6 glasses. Now I have 6 cases.
But you don't use them.
I never used one of them. So why did I keep them all? I actually threw out 4 of them.
We need somebody, and I'm sure somebody would put it online. Hey, here's a hack for those old eyeglass cases. What would you do with them?
Yeah.
Exactly. Here's another one. What about the Tupperware that you don't even have a lid for anymore, but somehow you're keeping it?
You guys are going to love this. This just happened, 4 or 5 days ago. So we've got a kitchen with an island. Okay, and so the island kind of curves around, and there's the drawer in the cabinet over here where I know in the drawer is the pizza cutter and the ice cream scoop.
Okay.
Then on the other side is all the silverware, and below that are bowls I use. My popcorn bowl. Do not touch it, Josh. I use it for popcorn and French toast batter.
Well, when Finn gets sick.
Everything. It actually would be perfect for that. Yes. And then there's another little slide out thing that has measuring cups and things like that. There are 2 download cabinets. I have no idea what's in them. And I was looking around. Well, where's the Tupperware? Well, it's in here. I go, where? In that one. I go, I've never opened that before.
Ever. How much Tupperware did you have?
Tons. Jen uses it all the time. We've only been in the house 22 years.
Yes.
I've never opened that can.
I love it.
That is a good one.
I found after a year of living in our current house, I opened a drawer and it was empty. And I go,
What?
Waste.
What is this? Now it's the candy drawer. But Bob, it wasn't 22 years, but it was a full calendar year. And I said, honey, did you know there was a... She didn't know either. She didn't know either.
Wow. What about all those manuals that you probably don't even have the TV?
I know it's a fire hazard. Having all that paper and booklets, and we got to get rid of it. It's on the counter. It's unbelievable.
My in-laws did a binder, and they 3-hole punched and put them all in the binder.
That's so smart. The people that we bought this RV from did the same thing. And so every single thing is just perfectly highlighted, and you know exactly where to find
really
it.
good.
So that's a good one. What about souvenir keychains? You're out somewhere, you've traveled somewhere, and you grab it, and it's just in that drawer somewhere that you've never used, but you can't get rid of it.
Here's another one, been in the house too long. We moved in, I think it was my father-in-law. Somebody got us a real neat little hook to go right by the door that goes into the garage. All the keys, 2 rows. It's awesome. I'll bet you there are no less than 20 keys on there that nobody knows what they go to.
The keys.
Yes.
And you try them indoors, and it doesn't work there, but then you don't throw it away because you're like, well, what if it goes to
something I need?
Yeah.
I did a full reset, but for probably 15 years, I had a house key on a house we don't even have anymore. It was my parents' house.
Oh, my.
And I tried to get into their new house with it, and I go, what? This key's not working. And they were like, well, it's probably from the old house.
Josh. Okay.
Well, give me a key to the new house.
Yeah, I'll trade you.
Maybe
I'll put it right next to this
they're trying to tell you something.
Okay, you're not throwing it away.
You don't throw away keys because you never know.
You don't know.
Never know.
Especially for the ladies, how about all the old makeup that you have that you just haven't thrown away? You've got mascara, you've got nail polish, you've got, all the foundation. You're like, what? Am I even this color anymore? When you're tan, you have a different, I'm like, all of that is a pain too.
Well, I'm guilty. I haven't been on TV regularly in 30 years.
You still have that compact?
That one little thing with the tan tube.
You do?
Uh-huh.
You do?
It's in the back of that one drawer.
Yeah, just in case.
You never know.
It's all of those just in case things. And one more, we have a drawer that is full of takeout menus when we never use them. We go to Uber Eats and
Throw
go
'em
to
out.
the menu online. We never use those.
Throw them out.
And they're probably not even up to date. So
The takeout menus.
Throw them
the
out.
takeout menus.
This is a really great but also very specific and weird suggestion on the text line, 84126. The eyeglass boxes, Bob, make great caskets for burying parakeets, gerbils, and other small pets.
That is a great idea. The goldfish dies.
Yeah.
The little turtles, the little tiny turtles die.
And
That's
it's
a
got
great
the
idea.
nice
Yeah.
felt lining.
Yeah.
I was
on
going
the
to say, it even kind
inside.
of looks like a coffin
It
now that we're
does.
talking about it.
Really go out in style for Mr. Peepers, you know?
Wow. All right. Well, with that, let's take a quick break, and then we will talk to Barbara Ray Venter, who is kind of the woman who started genealogy DNA. I mean, she actually led people to the Golden State Killer. We'll talk to her after a quick break.
Everyone's talking about these weight loss drugs, and it's a good thing we've got Dr. Joe Molesky with us, a St. Louis native and board-certified primary care physician. Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
The magic cure is these weight loss shots. They're injected once weekly. They're not like the old medications that you've seen 20, 30 years ago. These medications actually work. They're injected once weekly, and patients see within the first 90 days 10 to 15 pounds down. It simply works, and that's why I recommend it to all of my patients. You simply go online, book an appointment, you fill out a health questionnaire form, you get an appointment on our schedule. It's all telemedicine based. It's all done from your home, and then you meet with me or one of my nurse practitioners, and then after the 10, 15-minute consult, the medication is delivered right to your door discreetly, and you get started right now on your weight loss journey.
And you want to start to lose weight? None better than to call stlmedweightloss.com and ask Dr. Joe. stlmedweightloss.com.
It's Les Miller weekend at Miller Furniture. We're celebrating my grandfather, Les Miller, pitching nearly 20 innings in one big league game for Detroit back in July 1945. Don't miss this limited time sale going on now through July 22nd.
In Les Miller's honor, we are giving you up to 20% off of everything in our Belleville, Fairview Heights, Lake St. Louis, and Ellisville showrooms. When you add in 12 months, 0% interest, it's a home run.
We estimate Grandpa threw over 250 pitches, so we've marked down over 250 separate items throughout all 4 showrooms. Hurry in, the sale ends July 22nd.
We have more American-made furniture than ever to choose from. Come see why we were voted Retailer of the Year by the Home Furnishings Association.
Take 20% off our Chatham & Wells mattresses, plus $500 in free furniture with the purchase of a Tempur-Pedic.
Don't miss the Les Miller sale at Miller Furniture, now through July 22nd.
At Miller Furniture, we put the family in furniture.
Did you know that there are little-known strategies that could increase your Social Security benefits? Many retirees miss out on these spousal benefits, survivor benefits, and earning exemptions simply because they don't know they exist. At Pioneer Wealth Management, we can help you navigate these complexities of Social Security to ensure you get every dollar you deserve. Don't settle for less. Call us today at 314-619-1283 or visit us at pioneerwealthmgmt.com and learn how to maximize your Social Security income.
The Missouri Laborers Union and their contractors invest in people, making them extraordinary. How? Through training, creating careers, providing good wages, having superior health insurance, and a strong retirement. These are just a few of the many ways they invest in their members. The Missouri Laborers Union and their contractors understand the importance of having a strong workforce, and it starts with investing in people. Go to buildunion.com for more information.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
It is 3:32. Captain Paul, how are the roads?
Heidi, the latest is an accident on westbound 70 at Riverview, blocking the two left lanes with the stop and go back up to Kings Highway. Estimated clearance time there is 4:05. They've cleared an accident on eastbound 70 at Goodfellow, but there is a residual slowdown back to Lucas and Hunt. And southbound 270 is heavy from Page down to Manchester. This traffic report is brought to you by Renewal by Anderson. For a limited time, take advantage of Renewal by Anderson's largest new customer discount. 25% off your entire window or door project and great financing options. Call 314-350-6550 or online at rbastl.com. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
My gosh, it's so hot. I cannot imagine having your air conditioner go out, or even, quite frankly, not running really efficiently. Don't let, and we've talked about all summer, hey, the heat's coming. I wasn't talking about this kind of heat. This is dangerous heat. So don't imagine what it's going to be like. Don't live through it. Make a call right now. Call my friends at AAA Home Services. They'll be there because they have 25 expert technicians. They're busy. People's ACs have been failing. Give them a call. It's easy to do. 636-397-3200. If your air conditioner is repairable, these are the folks to do it. If you need a new one, AAA is your independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer, and they've been taking care of St. Louis families for over 55 years. It's dangerous heat. If you have an issue, don't wait. Don't ride it out. We'll get through it. We'll sleep in the basement. It's too dangerous. It's too hot. 636-397-3200. Visit AAASTL.com online and learn more about AAA's home service plans. It's AAASTL.com. Call AAA. We're on our way.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A slight chance for a spot shower, thunder shower until the sun sets. Otherwise, the big focus is on the heat as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. It will be hotter and still very humid. So low of 77 on Wednesday, a high of 98, and the heat index in the 105 to 110 range. Dangerously hot. That's why we have a First Alert weather day. It'll be mostly sunny. And then Thursday, mostly sunny. And again, 98 with a heat index in that 105 to 110 range. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton for the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
Well, she came out of retirement and helped catch the Golden State Killer. Barbara Ray Venter pioneered forensic genealogy as an investigative tool. I was fascinated by your interview on CBS Sunday Morning, and I'm so happy you were able to make time for us today. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to chatting with you.
So I want to point out, before you retired, you weren't a forensic scientist. You were a patent attorney. What led you down this path?
Well, it was more happenstance rather than anything else. After I retired, I was working on my own family history. And what was happening is this is at the beginning of home DNA tests. And so I was getting a lot of matches with people who were adopted and trying to find their birth relatives. And I really had no way of knowing how to help them. And so I went online and found a class. It was with a group called DNA Adoption. And then from that, we were then contacted by a deputy working on a living Jane Doe case. And he asked if the technique that we were teaching to adoptees to find their birth relatives, if that could be used with this woman who'd been abducted as an infant to figure out who she was. And I said yes, and sort of that's where we started.
Is this like finding a needle in the haystack?
That's exactly what it's like.
And go back to finding that girl. Tell us that story, because I think that really exemplifies what the work is that you're doing.
So this was the case of Lisa Jensen. And so she was living in a trailer park, actually not far from where I now live, up in Santa Cruz. And the man that she was with had told everybody that she was his daughter. And at some point, there was a couple that was living in this RV park, and they had seen the little girl and that she was clearly not being well taken care of. And they suggested to the man that she was with that their daughter could maybe adopt this little girl. And so he said that sounded like a good idea and offered them a temporary adoption. So they should take the little girl for 3 weeks, and then if it worked out, then he would sign all the papers for her to be adopted. So their daughter lived in San Bernardino, and so they took the little girl back to San Bernardino. And of course, when they came back 3 weeks later, he was long gone. And he was subsequently arrested several years later. And at that point, one of the sheriff's deputies decided that it was unlikely that he was in fact the little girl's father, and she at that point requested DNA testing and showed in fact that he wasn't. And then they realized, and she's like 30 years old or 20 years old, and so the guy that she had thought was her father, it turned out was not. He was actually her kidnapper or abductor. Yeah.
So as your role in this in the growth of DNA investigations have grown, talk about the extra steps it takes and the difficulties in tracking killers, because you had the girl, you had her DNA. I'm not saying it was easy, but you had a great place to start. But when you're trying to find killers and things, talk about that process.
Well, it's actually the same process. If you've got a DNA sample, all you're doing is there are 2 databases that we can upload forensic files to. And so when you do that, what you're doing is you're looking for people who share DNA with the sample that you have. Mm-hmm. And then what you do is you build family trees for those individuals. And then what you're doing is you're trying to figure out who are their common ancestors. So, for example, if 2 people are second cousins, they share a set of great-grandparents. And so we can tell from the amount of DNA that you share with somebody else how closely you're related to that person. So we build out the trees, we figure out, what the relationships are, and then when we've got the common ancestors, what do we know about you if you're related to, say, 2 people who are second cousins, who are sharing a set of great-grandparents? If you're also matching, if you have shared DNA with them that also shows you're another second cousin, what do we know about you? We know that you must be descended from the common set of great-grandparents. And so what we then do is, once we've gotten to that point, is we say, okay, what do we know about the person we're looking for? We probably have some information about maybe when they were born, where they were born, where they lived. And so what you do is you build what is called a reverse tree. So you now try to find all of the descendants. And let's say that you decided that the person you're looking for was born in 1950. So you then look amongst all those descendants for people born in 1950. Maybe you know that the person was from California. So you look for people who were born in California. If you're looking, let's say it's a male perpetrator, you then look amongst those. You obviously delete all the females. You now look at what you've got left. So, for example, with the Golden State Killer case, when we went through that process, we actually ended up with just 9 men.
Wow.
And so then what do? What else do you know about this person? Well, in his case, what we'd been able to do was use his DNA to figure out what was his probable eye color. And we lucked out because he had, according to his DNA, he was going to have blue eyes. And so the FBI just pulled the driver's license records for the 9 men. Actually, at that point, we'd eliminated 3 more, so we were down to 6. And so of those 6 men, only 1 had blue eyes.
Wow. Barbara, if private companies like Ancestry or 23andMe didn't exist, would the Golden State Killer still be out there?
Probably. The only other way that he would potentially have been caught was, of course, his DNA was in CODIS, which is the federal database. So if you've been in California, if you've been arrested for a felony, they take your DNA and they upload it to this database called CODIS, which is run by the FBI. Mm-hmm. And so his DNA would be in CODIS and would be regularly being checked against anybody else who was in CODIS. So that system went into effect, I think it was in like the late maybe 1970, 1980, somewhere in that time frame. So what was interesting is when we started looking at him, it turns out he had a brother who lives in Los Angeles, and his brother had actually been picked up on a DUI. If the current system had been in place when his brother was arrested, his DNA would have been taken. And California, so the CODIS system, normally you have to have an exact match. So it has to be the same person that's DNA is already in the system. California allows, and there are 13 states that allow you to do this. At the state level, they can then do what's called familial testing. And so they look for people who share DNA as what are called first-degree relatives. And first-degree relatives are parents, siblings, or children. So if that system had been in place when D'Angelo's brother was arrested on the DUI, his DNA would have been in the system and he would have been picked up.
Wow. We're talking to Barbara Ray Venter, who has a book, I Know Who You Are, How an Amateur DNA Sleuth Unmasked the Golden State Killer and Changed Crime Fighting Forever. You obviously talk about the Golden State Killer and other cases. How many cases have you now worked on?
I've worked on many, many cases. We've solved, so I have a team. So we've now solved probably 70, 75 cases.
Wow.
So is there a moment when, as formerly a lawyer, I know you have, I think, a PhD in biology, so science, but is there a moment where you kind of get a rush when you get the breakthrough information you need?
Oh, absolutely. No, it's really addictive because you do. I mean, and of course you're at the point when you figure out who it is, other than the person who's the criminal, you're the only one theoretically who knows who that person is.
Yeah.
So it is. It's really pretty high.
So you kind of touched on this, but I was wondering how much does the DNA tell you about what the person looks like? You said race, male or female,
eye color,
hair color. Could you do like if you have someone's DNA, could you do like one of these sketch artist drawings of someone?
Yeah, in fact, there's a company that does that. They call their product Snapshot. And so they're using the DNA, and in fact, we have a little script that we use where we can get skin color, eye color, and hair color. And that can be really important because quite often when you go through and you figure out who you think the suspect is, you end up with either brothers or cousins. And so if you can then add in things like eye color and hair color and skin color, you can often tell which brother it is that you want.
Yes.
And so we've used, in fact, we just got a confirmation on somebody this last week where we had two brothers. One had, I think, hazel eyes and one had blue eyes. And we wanted the one with the blue eyes. And so otherwise we would have had no way to tell between the two of them as to which one was more likely to be a suspect.
And the bankruptcy of some of these 23andMe companies, does that threaten these databases, or will they go on and live with someone else?
So 23andMe has actually now been purchased by a company that's actually, I think, owned by or at least co-shared by the former CEO. So that one has sort of ended up back in the same hands. The other databases, so the other one that we can use for forensic samples is one called GEDmatch, and that's actually been sold now several times. It's a little bit disturbing. The other one that's also impacts us doing forensic cases is Gene by Gene, which is the parent company of Family Tree DNA. And that one, what they did is they've licensed out some of the technology, and so it's what's happened there is it's become more expensive for being able to upload files to that database, and there are some limitations on where you can test and things like that. So it's concerning, yeah.
Barbara, have you ever encountered a family member of the perpetrator who were regretful that it was their DNA that led them?
We're very careful when we are. So when we're doing stuff, we often do either trash pulls or we end up asking for consensual samples. When we're doing consensual samples, we're very careful. I mean, we usually work through whoever it is that. Which law enforcement agency it is that has hired us, to have them explain what we're doing and how closely they're related. I personally have not had that happen, but there's certainly been instances where people have been either misled that the person that was being that was the suspect was potentially a very close relative. I think there was one situation where they actually law enforcement approached somebody who was the mother of the potential suspect.
Oh.
Of course, she was then very upset because it turned out that it was, in fact, her son that was the suspect. And they did not really fully disclose that. So we're very careful either to not approach somebody who's a very close relative, or when the folks we're working with do, they do explain that this is potentially somebody who's a close relative. For some people, it's if this guy's a rapist, then yeah, I want to turn him in. Other people, they just decline to further help.
Right.
So
Barbara, have any of your cases specifically been used in movies or TV, and who do you want to play you in a film?
Not yet. I've been talking to some folks. We're really close with a final deal to do a scripted show.
Good.
Based on my book.
That's great.
So we'll see. People have come up with all kinds of interesting suggestions. I think the one that's come up most often is that they want Sandra Bullock to play me. I'm not quite sure why they want Sandra Bullock, but that's who has come up.
I immediately thought Meryl Streep.
Oh.
Oh, interesting, because she does the accents.
Yes.
Well, it is a fantastic story, and you can read more. I Know Who You Are, How an Amateur DNA Sleuth Unmasked the Golden State Killer and Changed Crime Fighting Forever. Barbara Ray Venter, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
I could have talked to her for hours.
Fascinating.
So interesting. Right now, though, we got to talk traffic with Captain Paul.
Heidi, an accident on westbound 70 at Riverview is blocking the two left lanes with traffic jam back to Florissant Road. Estimated clearance time is 4:05. Southbound 270 is heavy from Page down to Manchester. Westbound 64 slows down in front of Forest Park. And there's a stalled vehicle and a police vehicle on the right shoulder of southbound 55 at Potomac. This traffic Traffic Report is brought to you by Aldon Indoor Air Quality Specialists. Repairs are cheaper than replacements. That's a myth. Stop pouring money into that old AC. We'll buy back your old AC system and give you $500 plus 0% financing for 24 months. Your family stays cool and your wallet does too. Visit al-don.com to learn more about Daikin Fit Systems. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Everybody loves good barbecue, and everybody wants to know where the next great barbecue place is. And if you're looking for an overnight sensation, it's only taken them 10 years. Three Bay Barbecue and Bakery, Woods Mill and Clayton Road. There is a gas station, West County Phillips 66 gas station. In that gas station, in the back, for 10 years, some of the best barbecue in town. Bring a friend and spread the word. Three Bay Barbecue and Bakery. Don't forget about the bakery. 3BayBarbecueandBakery.com.
Summer's here. Is your air conditioner up for the challenge? Hi, Farmer Dave here for Viviano Heating and Air. With Viviano Heating and Air, you don't have to guess. Our certified technicians provide expert AC maintenance, repairs, and energy-efficient system upgrades tailored to your home. Schedule your AC service today by calling 618-345-7498 or visit the website vivianoair.com. That's vivianoair.com. Train, the most reliable name in heating and cooling around. It's hard to stop a train.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Attorney General Pam Bondi said yesterday that Deputy Attorney Blanche will meet with Ghislaine Maxwell. She, of course, is the convicted associate of Jeffrey Epstein. Peter Harlembus, ABC News investigative reporter, joins us with the latest on this. What exactly do we hope to gain from this interview?
Yeah, so it's really hard to say because Maxwell famously has not spoken about this. She did not testify in her own defense. So it's a bit unclear what there is left for her to say. But it is interesting to see this come as the president faces increased criticism of his handling of this Epstein matter. In a statement, Maxwell said she will testify truthfully and that she's grateful to President Trump for his commitment to uncovering the truth. It's worth noting that Maxwell was convicted by a jury in New York of helping Epstein groom and sexually abuse minors. She's about a few years into a 20-year prison sentence at the moment.
Could she trade information for freedom?
Yeah, I mean, there's a way to do that. The DOJ could recommend that the sentence get lowered. The president could issue a pardon or a commutation. Those aren't being discussed at the moment, but certainly that is the big carrot that is dangling in front of Ghislaine Maxwell at this moment as she considers kind of spilling the beans on her former associate, Jeffrey Epstein, or who else allegedly might have been involved in any of their illicit activities.
Yeah, and so it's interesting that all of us out here want the truth. We want to know who's the pedophile. We want to know who were involved in these activities. But a flight log or just a list of phone numbers won't do that, and people could rush to judgment. It could be a dangerous situation.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And this information also includes a ton of sensitive information about victims. That's also getting in the way of releasing this information because while there is a desire to have more transparency here, they don't want it at the expense of victim safety. And we know that Epstein and Maxwell had thousands of victims in this case, so that's a real big consideration here. At the end of the day, though, I really think in both of these issues, the effort to go speak with Maxwell in Florida and the effort to unseal transcript records here in New York, neither of them appear like they have the potential to really change our view of this case. I don't think there's a smoking gun in any of this. I don't necessarily think that the people who are clamoring for more information are going to be satisfied by whatever comes out of either of these two efforts.
Yeah, but Peter, I'm going to fast forward here. Ghislaine Maxwell comes out and says that this picture, this card for the birthday was fake. Donald Trump never had anything to do with it. And then 2 weeks later, she's pardoned by the president. I mean, that reeks of conflict of interest.
100%. And on top of that, it's important to think about this kind of in terms of carrots and sticks. Certainly, the idea of a pardon or commutation is a really big carrot. And in this case, there really aren't many sticks left for someone who's already serving a 20-year prison sentence. There's really not that much they can do to worsen her situation. She only has things to gain. And certainly because she hasn't spoken about this on record, it's not like there's anything they could point to contradict her. She basically could say whatever she wants, and it's up to the DOJ to determine if it's credible or not. And it's hard to say if they're going to deem her credible if she says things that either benefits or hurts the president and his position in all of this.
Peter, I'm the conspiracy guy on our panel here. And so the thing is, even if none of these things would have anything to do with the president, I feel like there's a concern that Democrats and Republicans could be on this list, and there might be pressure from all sides not to release the most damning information.
Yeah, I mean, the DOJ is insistent at the end of the day here that this information, the information they've seen so far, does not point to there being other people who could be charged. So they're not changing their position on the potential to reopen this case.
Yeah.
But, there's a possibility that speaking to Maxwell could change things.
Well, it is interesting, and it doesn't seem to be going away. Peter Harlenboos, ABC News investigative reporter in New York. Thank you, sir.
Thanks so much for having me.
Elevate your home with stunning lighting from Metro Lighting.
Shopping for a gorgeous chandelier for your dining room?
Need a new table lamp?
Or lighting your entire dream home?
Our certified lighting specialists are here to help.
Locally owned with 6 convenient locations.
An amazing selection of lighting for any style and budget.
And all at the guaranteed best price.
And did you know?
Metro Lighting is a great source for furniture, art, and home decor too.
Metro Lighting.
Full of bright ideas for your home.
Seems like everyone has some sort of hail damage to their car. And if that's you, Dents Express is the next phone call. You see, Dents Express has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in paintless dent removal, hail damage, and minor collision repair. They have 2 locations. At Dents Express, they will work with your insurance company and handle all the paperwork and get your car back to you looking as good as new. Dents Express, STL.com. 2 locations, 1 great family, Dents Express, STL.com.
Hi, Matt Kearns, president of St. Lou Fringe. Our festival is St. Louis's stage for new works. Grab a festival pass and meet me August 11th through 17th at STL Fringe Fest 25 for comedies like The Hot Folder by St. Louis native Jeremy Pinson. See what happens when Jeremy's high school classmates find his quote-unquote hot folder on his desktop and how he navigates the ups and downs of high school after all of its contents are exposed. This show is hilarious. Grab passes and tickets for STL Fringe Fest today, and I'll see you at the Fringe, stlfringe.org.
I'm Farmer Dave, and here's my good friend and owner of MasterCars Inc., Alex Rosenberger, with today's hot MasterCars Inc. deals.
Thanks, Farmer Dave. We are insanely busy right now. It's my peak selling and buying season. I need to buy as many pristine Corvettes, Cadillacs, Vipers, Raptors, and other sports cars and luxury cars that I can find. Do you have a unique, rare, classic, or collectible vehicle you want to sell? Maybe even a daily driver with super low miles and in excellent condition. If so, we want to talk. We are cash buyers for collector-grade vehicles, including motorcycles. We've got great deals on hard-to-find, auto-check certified vehicles, too. Hop on our site today to buy, sell, or trade.
So rev that motor and point your car in the direction of MasterCars Inc. and buy or sell today. 4100 Namioki Road in Granite City, or visit MasterCarsInc.com to get more details. That's MasterCarsInc.com.
Foundation cracks come in many different shapes and sizes, vertical, horizontal, diagonally. Is that crack just a crack, or is that crack going to lead to a leak? You need to know the answer. Hi, everybody. McGraw-Milhaven here for Cornerstone Structural Repair and Waterproofing. Who do you call? Who can you trust? Cornerstone Structural Repair and Waterproofing. Call my friend Dale. He is the industry leader. They will accurately assess and fix your crack permanently. 314-262-6277 or stlouisfoundationrepair.com.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset. Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a banner day.
The Stages St. Louis season continues. Austin Pride, a new take on Jane Austen's classic Pride and Prejudice. Single tickets on sale now. Visit stagesstlewis.org. In downtown Kirkwood, stagesstlewis.org.
The Big 550.
KTRS St. Louis.
I'm Lindsay Davis.
Davis, anchor of Prime, streaming weeknights on ABC News Live. More fallout in the Jeffrey Epstein case. A House panel approved a motion directing the chair to subpoena Ghislaine Maxwell to testify. She's the ex-girlfriend of Epstein, convicted of sex trafficking after Epstein died by suicide, awaiting his trial. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who was also a former personal attorney for Donald Trump, says he plans to meet with Maxwell in prison. The meeting is raising questions since Trump once knew both Maxwell and Epstein. Here's ABC's Catherine Falders.
It would be a meeting that typically it would be something that would be cleared by the top ethics officials at the Department of Justice. I don't believe that happened here. We do know that the Trump administration has fired many of those people who would sign off on things like this where there was any questions surrounding ethics. So we'll have to see, obviously, how this meeting plays out.
President Trump says he didn't know about the DOJ meeting, but says it sounds appropriate. The president also made a claim that former President Obama is to blame for what he called the Russia hoax in the 2016 election findings by the intelligence community. A spokesperson for former President Obama is speaking out, calling the unfounded claims outrageous. The United Nations says humanitarian aid is so scarce in Gaza, people are collapsing in the streets. ABC's James Longman has more.
Frustration on the streets is seeming to turn against Hamas negotiators for failing to secure a ceasefire. What are you negotiating about, he says. We're humans, not dogs. We want to eat and live just like you.
The Hamas-run health ministry says hospitals recorded 15 deaths in the past day due to starvation and malnutrition. Fans are mourning the death of British heavy metal icon Ozzy Osbourne. His family says the Black Sabbath frontman passed away this morning, surrounded by love. Osbourne was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease in 2019. He was 76. You're listening to ABC News.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
93 degrees at 4:03 with KTRS News. I'm Steve Potter. Residents in the St. Louis region are being warned about excessive heat this week as the National Weather Service has issued an excessive heat warning in effect until Thursday evening. Dr. Kanika Cunningham, the director of the St. Louis County Health Department, told News Channel 4 that elderly relatives and neighbors should be checked on.
It's always really, really important to remind each other, but then also check in on each other as well as a community.
Cunningham says during heat waves like this, there is a rise in emergency room visits for heat exhaustion and heat stroke. Thousands of Missourians who depend on SNAP benefits could lose coverage under the Trump administration's new One Big Beautiful Bill. The law slashes more than $186 billion from the program over the next decade and expands work requirements. The changes may cut off eligibility for older adults, caregivers, and some immigrants. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities estimates more than 150,000 Missourians could be impacted. St. Louis Public Schools will consider a plan at tonight's Board of Education meeting to close more than half of its campuses to address declining attendance. According to the Post-Dispatch, a proposal to close 37 of the district's 68 schools is set to be presented to the school board at tonight's meeting. Experts are warning that the invasive spotted lanternfly could reach Missouri soon. The insect leaves behind a sticky residue called honeydew that attracts wasps and promotes mold growth. Officials warn that it could damage grapes, apples, and hardwoods, posing a threat to Missouri's wine industry and forests. Another member of the so-called ComEd 4 will begin her prison sentence later this year.
Ann Pramaggiore was sentenced yesterday to 2 years in prison. The former ComEd CEO, along with John Hooker, Michael McLean, and Jay Doherty, were all found guilty in 2023 of conspiring to influence and reward former Illinois House Speaker Michael Madigan in order to assist the passage of legislation favorable to the utility. Pramaggiore was ordered to report to prison on December 1st. Hooker was sentenced last week to 1.5 years in prison and ordered to report on October 14th. Meanwhile, McLean is scheduled to be sentenced on Thursday, and Doherty will learn his fate on August 5th. Jill Enters, KTRS News.
A 3/4 scale replica of the Vietnam Veterans Memorial in Washington, D.C. is coming to St. Louis County this week. The Wall That Heals will be on display at Jefferson Barracks Park from Thursday through Sunday. This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. You can place your order anytime at WKF.com. In the markets at close, the Dow up 179 points at 44,502. NASDAQ down 81 at 20,892. And the S&P 500 up 3 at 6,309. And now with KTRS Sports and Traffic, we send it to Paul.
Steve, the Cardinals send Eric Fetty to the mound for Game 2 of a 3-game series tonight in Colorado. Last night, Michael McGreevy was terrific in another spot start, going 7 innings in a 6-2 win over the Rockies. Wilson Contreras had 3 hits, including his 13th home run. And St. Louis City SC is acquiring forward Jiang Sangbin from the Minnesota United for cash. Sangbin had 6 goals for the United last season, but is yet to find the scoring column in 2025. I'm Paul Kopsky from the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk, and now on to traffic. The exit from northbound 170 to Boeing is closed due to an accident. There's a crash on westbound 44 at 141 with an estimated clearance time of 4:40. Southbound 270 is heavy from Page down to Manchester. Eastbound 70 is stop and go at the depressed section downtown, and westbound 64 slows down in front of Forest Park. This traffic report is brought to you by Inland Marine. Located in Barnhart, Missouri, Inland Marine is your authorized Mercury Marine dealer. Whether you're looking for a new pontoon or fishing boat, make sure to check out Inland Marine. Find out more at inlandmarineboats.com. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Our forecast calls for an extreme heat warning to remain in effect until Thursday at 7 p.m. We have a 20% chance for an isolated shower today. And we're looking for heat index values both today and tomorrow as high as 107. An overnight low tonight of 78, then sunny and hot tomorrow with a high near 97. At 8 minutes past 4 o'clock, mostly cloudy, 93 degrees at the Gold Tower at Westport. Steve Potter, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
Every Friday, tune into the weekly Golf Course Spotlight, brought to you by Yingling Flight, the next generation of light beer, and by Park North Golf Club, Edwardsville's newest golf entertainment venue. So join us every Friday to learn more about the St. Louis area golf experience right here on the Frank and Jill Show.
Most people think if I name my husband as beneficiary, everything's going to be okay, and that's not necessarily true.
I'm Scott Garcia with Premier Estate and Income Planning.
What am I doing taking care of people after somebody has passed and all the mess that comes with that?
And I'm Jennifer Cermak, Chief Counsel and Estate Planning Attorney of Premier Estate and Income Planning.
No longer is the attorney the gatekeeper to your lives.
Let us show you how to protect your assets, avoid probate, and retire with confidence.
Having an estate plan could be the most important document you could ever have.
The Premier Income and Estate Planning Show, this Saturday at 4 and this Sunday morning at 7 on the Big 550 KTRS.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Our headlines for this Tuesday afternoon, July 22nd. Fire chief creates a buzz over recent bee rescue. The Cedar Hill Fire Protection District got the call to respond to a rollover crash on Highway 30 Saturday. According to the Missouri State Highway Patrol, a driver lost control of a Toyota Corolla on a curve, and the car went off the road, rolled several times. Paramedics transported a man and a woman to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Fire Chief Mick Fisher responded to the accident scene and said the couple wasn't traveling alone. He said, I started to notice quite a few bees flying around the back of the vehicle. Fisher said the couple was transporting a colony of bees, probably between 3,000 and 5,000, to a new home, and the container carrying the bees was damaged in the accident. Now, this is where the story gets crazy.
Oh, that's not the crazy part.
As it turns out, Fisher was the right firefighter in the right place at the right time. He's been in the fire service for 30 years. He's been a beekeeper for 15 and knew exactly what to do. The fire chief ran home, switched into his beekeeping gear, and he and his wife returned to the accident scene to collect all of the bees, put them into a new container. Then he took the container to his home and set it up by some of his own bee colonies. He says, whenever you think you've seen everything, something else happens and you're like, wow, I haven't seen everything. Fisher said he'll give the beehive a couple of days to reorganize, and then he'll check to see if the queen is still intact. And so if the colony, the colony will be ready to be moved by its owners to a new home. If the queen wasn't recovered, Fisher said the colony has the ability to genetically modify an egg and create a new queen.
Insects are fascinating.
Uh-huh.
They completely skeeve me out, but they are fascinating.
But not bees, right? You don't like bees either?
I mean, bees are a lot cuter than...
Well, and they're so...
vital
to the environment. So... That story, by the grace of God, could have gone my wife. My oldest boy, when he was 9, was a beekeeper.
Really? You have mentioned that before.
He was even, I'll go quickly, he even to the point we joined the Jefferson County Beekeepers Association.
Oh, we were serious.
Everybody was like 75 years old, and 9-year-old Brad was sitting there at the table asking questions. And I'm sitting in the back because it wasn't my deal.
Yeah.
I brought a book, but I'd be watching. It was the craziest thing you ever saw. Anyway, he wanted to start his own colony, and we had it in our backyard. But so somebody had to go get the bees and bring them to our house. It was my wife's Honda Odyssey van. And so the whole colony was in the back of the van.
Whoa.
And it was
That's a good mom.
I guess it was warm out, so it must have been spring. And so she had to turn the air conditioning way, way up, and it was crazy.
How do you transport that in your car?
Well, it wasn't just a car. It was a Honda Odyssey.
That should be in the commercial.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Be friendly.
And so Brad went on to, as a little kid, speak at the Missouri Botanical Gardens.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
As a beekeeper. Wasn't that great?
Yeah.
It was
that's
really
very
a fun
cool.
time for us.
How about that?
Did he make honey? What did he do
Oh,
with
yeah.
it?
Oh, my God. It was
the
so
best
good.
honey. Right
it
off
was
of
so fresh.
Yeah.
It was great. And I'm not going to tell everyone where he lives. He's getting ready to start beekeeping again.
Oh.
Which is really important to the environment.
Yeah,
as
it
you
is.
pointed out. Well, here's one. Normally I have the nonsense stories or national park stories. This one, though, I guess it depends on who ox is getting gored. This is about ice cream, Josh.
Oh.
But it's serious. Rich's ice cream bars are being recalled in 23 states due to potential listeria contamination. Over 110,000 cases of Rich's ice cream. I'm not familiar with the brand.
I'm not either.
And their frozen dessert products across 23 states are being recalled. The recall first started in June and has been recently updated to a Class 2 threat. Not in the state of Missouri, but for our listeners in Illinois, if at your grocery stores or convenience stores have Rich's ice cream bars,
Rich's,
you got to make sure that the proprietor takes them out. Chocolate crunch cake bar, strawberry shortcake bar, crumble cookie bar, orange cream bar. Ooh, that sounds good. Savagely sour blue raspberry bar, and there's about a dozen of those. So if you want to find out, if you live in Illinois, it's the Rich's Ice Cream website. But be careful of that.
Yeah,
I love
that's
ice
scary.
cream and listeria and that kind of stuff, that kind of contamination. Be very, very careful.
Yeah.
My buddy said that he's, to this day, says that he ate boar's head during that thing and he got so sick. I don't want to go out and say that was the reason, you know?
I
This
would.
guy does a lot of weird stuff. Okay.
Well,
he stands by it.
Yeah, I support that.
U.S. senators are demanding answers over Delta Airlines' new planned expanded use of AI, artificial intelligence, to set individualized fares. Here's what they're doing.
I saw this, and it just looks like it's going to be...
This makes me so mad. They say individualized pricing or surveillance-based price setting eliminates a fixed or static price. Here's the price of the airline ticket.
I don't think it's going to make it through because people are going to go crazy about this.
Airline ticket prices have never been fixed, ever. You know, you get on a flight today, and depending on when you book it next time, it could be
if you do
double.
now, for instance, going to Palm Springs, I booked flights a month ago, pretty cheap. I got to change them now, though. The schedule changed a little bit. The prices have gone up in only a month, and this is November.
Yeah.
What if I tried to get it that Monday before? No chance.
So they say they're not adjusting prices based on the date and how close the flight is. They're adjusting it based on your particular shopping habits.
Well, they won't like me.
Your bank account.
You're going to get the best deals ever.
Yeah. And your risk tolerance of how much you're willing to pay for things. They can use, listen to this, passengers' purchase history, web browsing behavior, geolocation, social media activity, and financial status. If you've got $50 million, you don't care if you're paying $500 or $1,000.
And they'll stick it to you.
For a flight, and they'll raise it up to a point that'll make even a $50 million person say, hey, that's pretty expensive. So they have done this through 3% of their domestic ticket prices already. They want to raise it to 20%. Now, to Heidi's point, I don't think they're going to lower it for people like me.
Or me.
Or Bob. We don't have, a pot to you-know-what in. But they are going to raise it based on your shopping habits and your pain point.
I think people will go crazy and just never fly Delta if they're the only ones doing that. Now, if the other airlines get on board and you have no choice, that will probably be different. But there's no way I would fly Delta if I knew that's what they were doing.
What if you and I are sitting next to each other? We don't know each other. And just kind of, what'd you pay for your flight? And I said, $325. You said, what? I paid $500.
Yeah.
You'd go ballistic.
Yeah.
You would.
So essentially, it's all AI, but it would be somebody staring over, the shoulder and saying, hey, that's Bill Gates. Why don't you jack it up $400 a ticket and see if they pay it?
Mm-hmm.
That's what Delta is doing right now.
Have they already started it?
They're doing it in 3% of their domestic prices. They want to amp it up to 20%. They say it's in testing phase now, and they love the results they're getting.
I'm sure they do. Well, I love the results I'm getting at Premier U. Let's talk about something that is actually better for us. Premier U has helped me get back to feeling like me again. I don't know what happened. I got older. I took a job where I sit a little more than I used to, and all of a sudden that 5 pounds went to 10, the 10 pounds went to 15, and I was not happy with myself anymore. And luckily, I was introduced to Premier U. Now, Premier U does several things. What I was initially introduced to them for was the weight loss medications. You've heard of Ozempic and Mounjaro and all those, but what Premier U does is offer their generic equivalents, and they offer them at a fraction of the price. But that's just one of the many things that Premier U helps with. You actually meet with somebody once a month, if that's what you need. That's kind of the regular time. Maybe you need to see them more than once a month. And when you do, you're checking in to see if you're losing the weight in the right places. Are you losing the fat, or do we need to make sure that you're maintaining more muscle? And so I'm taking, a creatine, I'm taking some amino acids, and then I also have been trying to balance out my hormones, which Premier U has helped with as well. Premier U can help you get back to feeling like you again. I'm happy I've been able to get clothes out of the drawer that I didn't think I would ever wear again, and it is fantastic. fantastic. Premier U has helped me. They can help you too. There's 2 locations, one in Swansea, another in South County. You can go online, premiermed.com, or give them a call, schedule up an appointment, 618-750-LIFE. Coming up, we'll talk about a couple of the headlines we've seen in St. Louis Magazine, and we'll talk about them with staff writer Ryan Kroll.
A message from the master. If you are looking for that one-of-a-kind gift this year, come on in to Newsletter's Fine Jewelers. Let Richard draw your future present for somebody you love. This special engraving lasts a lifetime. At the corner of Big Ben and Doherty Ferry or at wowdiamonds.com.
Hi, it's Jill Farmer, and all of us here at KTRS are so proud to be part of Christmas in July to support the Salvation Army's Angel Tree Toy Town project, which of course gives toys and makes Christmas special for thousands of the neediest kids in the St. Louis region. Christmas in July is going really well so far. We've had such great support from you, our listeners, from our business partners, from our advertisers, and it's still going on. You still have a chance to drop off a new unwrapped toy right here at the KTRS studios or at one of our business partners, including the Rawlings Experience, and help make Christmas special for some of the neediest kids in our area, including many of those impacted by those May tornadoes in the St. Louis region. Now's the time for you to say, we want to help make our community better, so there's still time to join us for Christmas in July. Go to ktrs.com for all the details.
Connor Roofing is proud to be a small part of Christmas in July, celebrating the heart of St. Louis, and thanks to 550 KTRS. This is Kathy from Connor Roofing. For years, we've been dedicated to protecting what matters most, your home, your family, and your peace of mind. As a local business, we believe in strong roofs and even stronger communities. Thanks for making us a part of yours. Connor Roofing, keeping St. Louis covered, one roof at a time. You can find us at connerroofing.com.
When you want to send flowers to a loved one for a birthday, anniversary, or that special occasion, call your friends at Walter Knoll Florist. Walter Knoll is family-owned and operated and offers custom designs by expert designers. A huge inventory and selection that only the largest florist can offer, with quality and care that no grocery store florist can meet. They have several locations in the St. Louis metro area to serve you. Order online today at WKF.com. That's WKF.com. Walter Knoll Florist, your personal florist since 1883.
When you pay for tree work, you want to be sure you're getting the most for your hard-earned money. That's why you should always use the ISA certified arborist at River City Tree Service in Baldwin, Missouri. Hi, I'm Steve with River City Tree Service, and we've been the go-to tree service since 2008. Tree removal, tree trimming, storm damage, deadwood removal, stump grinding, and more. Give River City Tree Service a call for all your tree service needs at 314-270-8071. That's 314-270-8071. River City Tree Service.
Truck drivers, it's time to take your skills to a company that invests in your safety and comfort. Schneider's newer and well-maintained equipment keeps drivers moving and making money. Our trucks are spec'd with the latest safety and comfort features that drivers want. Plus, we offer a huge selection of driving jobs so you can find a job with the home time and schedule you've been looking for. Upgrade to a better driving job today. Search jobs near you and apply now at SchneiderJobs.com. That's SchneiderJobs.com.
Mom, what do you always say?
There's nothing sadder than jewelry that sits in a drawer.
That's why we are proud to offer jewelry repair on site at Newsletter's Fine Jewelry. We know that your jewelry is important to you, and we take that part of our job very seriously. Visit us at Doherty Ferry in Big Bend or learn more at wowdiamonds.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Well, I mentioned earlier, I love to walk our alleys in Lafayette Square just to see some of the old carriage houses. And now an alderwoman is trying to make it easier to build them. Ryan Kroll covered the story for St. Louis Magazine, and he is joining us to discuss. Thanks for making time for us.
Hey, of course. Thanks for having me. I'm really excited to talk about this.
So can you give us the background? Why is this even a topic of discussion, the carriage houses or mother-in-law suites?
Yeah. So basically, these types of houses, sort of, these small independent units in people's backyards, they've really been a part of the fabric of the city for centuries. So I was just in one in Soulard that was built in the 1800s, but a lot of that construction actually happened before there was zoning laws, or before those were really even a thing. And as the zoning laws are in St. Louis right now, if you want to build a carriage house, or if you want to like convert a garage into one, for instance, you need to actually get a zoning variance to do so, which can be a little bit cumbersome. So the idea is that Alderwoman Shamim Clark Hubbard thinks this would be a great way for people to, maybe have an Airbnb, or, have used the proverbial mother-in-law suite. And she just wants to remove barriers for folks who want to have this as an option. These things are already in town, but it's a little bit tricky to build new ones right now. And she's just trying to make it easier.
And what are her colleagues saying?
So everyone seems to be for it. So a big theme in the city, in the Board of Aldermen right now, is like, how do you sort of do density and how do you do it smarter? I know a lot of people get a little bit squeamish when like a big apartment building just starts going up across the street or something like that. So this is a way to kind of get more people living on your block, more units of housing, but really not affect the character of the neighborhood where you live in. A few people, I think, are concerned about parking, because some of these things in theory could be built on parking pads, in the backyard,
right.
And then where are those folks going to park? But I think those will be things that they can sort of work out as this bill makes its way through the Board of Aldermen.
So when we talk about zoning, are we talking not just building codes and what you have to do there, but is there a difference in the mother-in-law suite, the carriage house, whatever? Is there a difference in, hey, my kid's back from college, he's going to live there, versus renting it to Heidi?
Yeah, that is a good question. So I actually, if you're renting it to just one person, there would be actually, because for two reasons. One, there would be there's sort of specific city codes as they pertain to sort of, rental units and that kind of thing. And I think probably even more sort of salient is as they relate to Airbnbs. I know there's all this concern about, people have, renting these Airbnbs and having these huge parties that get out of control.
Right.
And that sort of thing. And I think the thing that kind of makes people a little less anxious here is that because the carriage house, it would be a carriage house that would be being rented out sort of on a short-term basis. The new laws related to short-term rental properties would be in effect. And then also these would be owner-occupied Airbnbs. So it would be a situation where, like, it's not like I'm someone in Florida, renting out a loft downtown where who knows who's going to show up.
Right.
I would sort of have a pretty good sense of kind of what's going on there.
Because it's in your backyard. And if you rent your carriage house to strangers or Airbnb, that's only one step removed from renting out a room inside your house. I'm just a little incredulous to think of how many people would actually do this.
Sure. No, I totally get that. I feel like the renting it out to someone who's more or less a stranger, I think that would probably be a little bit less common.
Right.
I do know that the one big potential use for these things, and it's actually sort of maybe not super intuitive, but AARP is a big proponent of these carriage houses, making them easier to build. Because you might have like an empty nester, for instance, who has this huge house that they don't really need the space for. Some people, I don't know that I would necessarily count myself among these folks, they might actually want to move out of their main house into the carriage house, and then they could rent out the big unit on their block for probably a nice sum of cash. So I don't know that would be for me or for my parents, but AARP is really pushing these things.
It's interesting that you point that out, Ryan, because I know that there's a couple in Lafayette Square who did just that. They moved out of their big house and then kind of redid a carriage house that sits back, and it's gorgeous, but that's exactly what they did and ended up selling the bigger house. Another story that you have been reporting on is the Police Oversight Board has been told to stop overseeing. What did the board actually oversee to begin with?
Sure. So they were a board that was set up about 10 years ago, a little bit less, to if someone felt like they were wronged by the police, they had some sort of complaint against an officer, they felt they'd been maybe abused or mistreated in some way. The Civilian Oversight Board was sort of intended to kind of be like a neutral third party adjudicator of those complaints. They would look into the matter. They had subpoena power, and then they could, the idea was that obviously the police department has an internal affairs, but this would be sort of even kind of more, one step removed, so the police department wouldn't essentially be investigating itself. So any kind of thing that they investigated had to be generated from a complaint that was brought to them.
And so is this just too many chefs in the kitchen? Why is it going away?
Sure. It's kind of an unusual thing, and it has to do with the transition from our police department being under this city control to going back under state control after Governor Mike Kehoe got a law through Jeff City. So basically, the law that put the police back under state control also had within it a provision for there to be a civilian oversight board, but it's a different board than the one that was operating whenever the police was under city control. So sort of until the new board can get set up, this board is defunct. It's effectively, has no power. And in fact, under current law, any city official who, quote unquote, impedes the actions of the police could potentially face like a monetary fine. And it could, and I think out of perhaps an abundance of caution, the city has said, well, just, don't do any oversight lest you impede the police and then risk having to pay a fine.
Got it. Ryan, what are you working on next?
I'm working on something right now about it's kind of it's maybe not the most exciting story, but I think it's a really important one. So our Congressman Wesley Bell has gotten a decent amount of money in the current appropriations bill working its way through D.C. for St. Louis. So that was something he really campaigned on. He said, I'm going to, quote unquote, bring home the bacon to this district. He felt like his predecessor, Cori Bush, wasn't doing a very good job of that. And so far, it looks like he's actually, making good on that promise. He's got some money coming in for the airport, some money coming in for bike trails, other things. Again, maybe not the kind of the most exciting, sexy things, but things that kind of make the city better if we have them.
Absolutely.
So I'm happy to get the word out about those.
Ryan, I think the airport is super sexy, especially if it could bring in some international flights. I'm totally down for that. Is this part of the big, beautiful bill, or is this outside of that?
This is outside of that. So I'm actually kind of getting a crash course in this. There's these appropriations bills that make their way, or, sometimes don't. Sometimes they get stalled in D.C. every year, and they're split into 12 parts, 12 chunks. And these ones are specifically in the transportation, housing, and urban development chunk, which I guess is the one that, when our congressmen aren't talking about Jeffrey Epstein or whatever, they're talking about this transportation, housing, and urban development bill in D.C. It's a little bit murky, kind of the timeline, but Bell's folks seem confident that it's going to make it across the finish line one way or the other.
All right. Well, you can read more about all of these stories and more online at stlmag.com. Ryan, thank you so much.
Hey, thanks for having me. Really appreciate the chat.
Hi, I'm Jeff Zufall, Senior Tax Strategist and Wealth Advisor at Capital Advisory Group, and the author of the #1 best-selling book on taxes, Keep What's Yours. Let us show you how tax-smart investment strategies can protect your wealth. Give us a call at 636-394-5524, or you can visit us on the web at capitaladvisorygrp.com.
Keep What's Yours, Saturday afternoons at 3.
We are moving right along. It is 4:33. Captain Paul, how's traffic moving along?
Heidi, it looks like they've cleared an accident on northbound 270 at Manchester, but there's a residual backup to 44. The exit from northbound 170 to Boeing is closed due to an accident. Southbound 270 heavy from north of Olive down to Manchester. Southbound 55 is congested from Potomac to South Broadway. Southbound 170 is stop and go from Forest Park Parkway to 64. And westbound 64 is stop and go from Kings Highway to Hampton, where it's raining. This traffic report is brought to you by Sound Health Services. If you're not hearing the sweet sounds of summer as clearly as you used to, Sound Health audiologists can help with hearing tests and hearing aids. Call 314-722-4204 for an appointment or visit soundhealthservices.com. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
And now,
KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A slight chance for a spot shower, thunder shower until the sun sets. Otherwise, the big focus is on the heat as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. It will be hotter and still very humid. So low of 77 on Wednesday, a high of 98, and the heat index in the 105 to 110 range. Dangerously hot. That's why we have a First Alert weather day. It'll be mostly sunny. And then Thursday, mostly sunny. And again, 98 with a heat index in that 105 to 110 range. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton for the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
Seems like everyone has some sort of hail damage to their car. And if that's you, Dents Express is the next phone call. You see, Dents Express has been in business for over 30 years. They specialize in paintless dent removal, hail damage, and minor collision repair. They have 2 locations. At Dents Express, they will work with your insurance company and handle all the paperwork and get your car back to you looking as good as new. Dents Express, STL.com. 2 locations, 1 great family, Dents Express, STL.com.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. You don't hear fast-talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Drury Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Drury Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Drury Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Experience your banking your way with Royal Banks of Missouri's interactive teller machines. No matter rain or shine, hot or cold, our friendly staff is there to provide real-time assistance through a live virtual session on our machines, even during evenings and Saturdays. Visit an interactive teller machine at any Royal Banks location and just tap the screen to enjoy convenient, secure banking support. Royal Banks of Missouri, member FDIC and equal housing lender.
At Maryville University, we power dreams, not just degrees. For nearly 150 years, we've empowered graduates to build successful careers. At Maryville, expect a rigorous, technology-driven, mentor-inspired education in a diverse and inclusive learning environment. We help you take it to the next level, no matter what field you choose. Now is the time to turn your ambition into action and transform your dream into reality. Start your journey at maryville.edu.
Your biggest choice in home restoration is who do you trust with your home, your most valued asset. Few can match Banner Construction's experience and dedication to excellence. Banner is an elite preferred James Hardie contractor and Pella window specialist. Restoration is a one-time opportunity to have Banner's design team show you architectural options to make your home the neighborhood showcase. Call for a free consultation, 314-569-1050. And have a Banner Day.
Back to school is on the brain. That means new notebooks, pencils, new everything. And while the kids are getting ready to get book smart, it's time for you to save smart with Straight Talk Wireless. Switch now and get a free Moto G 2025 with 5G when you activate select plans. Now that's a smart call. Get Straight Talk covered by Verizon's 5G network. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Offer valid through 10/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Purchase of gold unlimited plan or higher required for offer. Must activate the plan in store at Walmart. Cannot be combined with other offers.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines. Guides in the know and prices so low. It just might blow your mind. You're gonna find what you love and love what you find.
With curbside pickup and delivery available, you'll always find what you love, only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21. There are over 10,000 reasons why steel is not sold at Lowe's or Home Depot. Find tools for the job site or your own backyard at over 10,000 authorized local steel dealers. Find yours at steelusa.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
We had a conversation about Chat GPT yesterday and how it is being used among all kinds of jobs these days. Mike Dubusky, ABC News technology reporter in New York, joins us with OpenAI releasing a Chat GPT agent. I mean, this is so new for so many of us, and then so many other people are turning to it for everything. So give us the lay of the land.
Yeah, so this kind of requires us to explain what an agent is in the context of AI. And what an agent is a type of artificial intelligence technology that can take action on your behalf. It can order you groceries on Instacart, or it can write a PowerPoint presentation for you. In other words, it has agency, and that is in contrast to non-agentic AI technologies that can maybe answer questions or write you out an itinerary or something like that, but they can't actually do anything. AI agents do things, and that brings us to OpenAI's latest tool in this space, which is called ChatGPT Agent. It is a setting within ChatGPT that lets you book a trip via Expedia. It can run code for you that it generated. It can create business slideshows or spreadsheets for you. OpenAI says they were able to do this by mixing together several of their existing technologies, including their deep research tool, as well as their operator tool, which is AI that is basically designed to understand how to navigate a website. And in that spirit, when you give ChatGPT Agent something to do, a request, it will actually pull up a little virtual desktop, and you can watch it click around trying to figure out how to execute on the task that you gave it. So, for example, if you go to ChatGPT Agent and say, hey, compare the best dining table sets for me on Wayfair.com, you can actually see it pull up on the desktop, a browser, go to Wayfair.com, type into the search bar on that website, dining table sets, and then compare based on the criteria that you give it. Sam Altman, who is the CEO of OpenAI, says that this represents a new level of capability for AI, but he's also warning about a lot of potential risks here, guys, saying that this is not really ready for high-stakes use cases just yet, and he is warning that this probably should not be given access to a ton of personal information.
Yeah, so that kind of goes to my question in that, you know, creating things for me personally, I kind of get, and I can see how it can be very, very helpful. But when you're asking it to do things, you know, like a call to action, like you said, groceries or travel, what happens if it makes a mistake?
That's the big question, right? And this is a problem that has continued to dog the generative artificial intelligence space for years. In fact, people who have gotten access to ChatGPT Agent over the last few days have reported a number of strange, unforced errors, things like fake Amazon links that it sort of spits back at you that don't lead anywhere, or janky, unprofessional-looking PowerPoint slides, something that you wouldn't really bring to work. You can hook up your personal accounts to this thing. You can, have it summarize your email inbox for you. You can even have it buy things for you. But the general consensus among people who have had access to this tool seems to be hold off on that, at least for the moment, given how pervasive these hallucination issues continue to be for not just OpenAI, but really for the whole AI space.
And what's the reality of this AI? Like when you say, make me a PowerPoint, am I going to have to go back and smooth out the wording and the edges and the pictures? When I see these things on Facebook where they say, oh, this is Star Wars if it was filmed in the 50s, and it's beautiful. I don't know how they do it. Did somebody come in after that, Mike, and smooth it out and make edits to it?
Almost certainly is the answer to that question. Generally speaking, in the artificial intelligence space, how deep your prompt goes will dictate how sophisticated the AI response is. In other words, the more you write, the more detail you give in terms of what you want an AI to do, the better it's going to be at sort of achieving that task. But the hallucination problem is pervasive here, right? There's always going to be, some misstep if you use these tools for long enough and for enough purposes, which means that, there's always going to be a little bit of back-end work that needs to be done here. And that has been a stumbling block for this industry for years now, as we've said. And there's some reason to suggest that it's going to continue to be the case, guys. GPT-5 is the long-rumored next-generation model that OpenAI is working on. They said it was going to be released this year. Now it's looking like it might not be released until next year or perhaps the year after that. Seems like there's a lot of delays involved here just because they can't get this technology to kind of get rid of these mistakes, these missteps that it's spitting back at people. And that's something that is true, at Google, at Anthropic, at a number of the leading AI industries out there. At its core, guys, these models are only as good as the information that you feed them. And we are at a point now where they've kind of exhausted all of the easily accessible information that is available to them, meaning the entire internet and most of the writing beyond that as well. So the question now becomes, what do you train these models on, and what do you do in the meantime while you're figuring out an answer to that question?
Mike, I am so technically challenged, so I'm going to go back, and this might be the dumbest question you've ever heard. OpenAI, is that the company?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, so OpenAI makes a number of products, including ChatGPT. That's their text generator. You can chat with it like you would, any texting companion. You can go to it through a website or you can go to it through an app. They also have DALL-E 3, which is an image generator. They now have Sora, which is a video generator. And they've recently partnered with Johnny Ive, who is the designer of the iPhone, to make a lineup of hardware products. But yes, long story short, OpenAI is the sort of overarching company. ChatGPT is the product.
And I feel like we've heard the most about ChatGPT. Who's its biggest competitor?
Right now, it appears to be Google, and that is mainly because Google has, for one, long been working in the generative AI space. In fact, the T in GPT is a Google trademark. It means transformer, just because they've been working on this type of technology for a long time. And Google not only has pretty competitive AI models to OpenAI, they also have the reach, right? They've been integrating their own Gemini model into things like Google Search, which is a platform that is used by billions of people around the world. OpenAI does not have an equivalent.
Every time I Google something, the AI comes up first with an answer.
Yeah, the AI overview. And then you think about Google Pixel phones and you think about Chromebook computers and the Chrome web browser. They have a lot of surfaces that people touch that OpenAI just does not at this point. But it seems like this partnership with Johnny Ive that OpenAI is forging seems to be a step in that direction, at least an early one.
And Mike, before we let you go, for those people that think that these are going to take jobs away, there's still going to need to be people, as Josh pointed out, to kind of, smooth those edges.
Yeah, that's the line from the artificial intelligence industry, that we're not going to necessarily replace jobs, we're just going to change jobs, right? In the same way that, cars replaced horses, it didn't necessarily take all the stable people out of business, it just moved people into factories building cars. That is sort of the idea here, but there is some reason to be skeptical of that. Businesses have already been integrating the current iteration of generative artificial intelligence technology into things like customer service, and that has really changed a lot of that industry. The coding world in particular is facing huge threats from generative artificial intelligence. Teaching is another thing to think about as well. So, I think there's maybe a healthy dose of skepticism that should go along with that, but it's certainly a brave new world out there and one that we're still reckoning with.
Well, Mike, we appreciate you walking us through it. Thank you so much.
Of course, guys. Take care.
Are you old school or are you new school? Doesn't really matter, because if you need a hardware store, where do you go? Schnarr's Hardware, and their 2 locations, East Lockwood and Webster Groves, and of course their world headquarters on Clayton Road. You see, Schnarr's Hardware is one of those places where you walk in and you say, this thing broke off my toilet. Do you have one of these? Yeah, follow me. And they take you in the back and you pass 19 different aisles of things that you wish you could stop and look at. And do you need a 3-inch or a 4-inch? I think I need a 3-inch. Great. I'll buy 2 and I'll bring the other one back. That's why Schnarr's Hardware has been so successful. It's the customer service and the attention to detail. Whether you need fertilizer or whether you need something for the kitchen, maybe you need something for the big green egg. 2 locations, 1 great hardware store, Schnarr's Hardware. And yes, the popcorn is always free, as well as the smell, because it smells like a hardware store. East Lockwood and Webster Groves, and on Clayton Road in Ladue, Schnarr's or schnarrs.com. We'll see you there.
Cardinal Hall of Famer Jason Isringhausen and Eddie Scholler from the world-famous Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Hey, buddy, have you came over and looked at the new Eddie at Fast Eddie's? I finally got a new item. You know, it's been decades.
Decade? More like 40 years to figure out how to put a piece of shrimp on there with your steak.
I've known you for 40 years. You could have said something. Well, who'd have thought the Elwood could even get better? But we did it. We went and we made the Eddie. It's a foot-long serving turn.
Not that I needed another reason to bring the whole gang down there. I'm still going to order those big Elwoods, the succulent peel and eat shrimp, the hot chick on a stick, and that famous Fast Eddie burger. And I'm always going to get one of those ice-cold frosty ones and listen to that live music on that patio every afternoon and evening.
Well, I just love adding another great item for everybody to come over and enjoy. When you come on over the beautiful Clark Bridge and look at the picturesque Mississippi River.
Picturesque. That's very eloquent.
Thank you very much.
Well, like Mr. Shannon says, if you're 21 and in the mood, come on over to picturesque Alton, Illinois, and see the very eloquent Eddie at Fast Eddie's Bon Air.
Appliance Discounters has another showroom, this time on Gravois Road, right next to the little Dairy Queen that's been there for ages. This showroom is different. It's packed with name brands, GE, LG, Bosch, that are slightly dinged, one-of-a-kind, or closeout items direct from the manufacturer. They all come with the factory warranties and all the factory rebates. You want huge savings at big discounts, theappliancediscounters.com. To find the one nearest you, including the one on Gravois Road in Afton, theappliancediscounters.com.
At Midland, we know sometimes all it takes is a moment for an idea to spark, or to make it happen, a moment to find your dream, or build one, a moment to start your forever, or at least start planning for it. Whatever moments you have, Midland is here for them and can help you make them. Midland, brighter together. Visit us at midlandsb.com. Midland States Bank is member FDIC.
Now that summer's here, you'll be spending a lot of time in the backyard while you're outside grilling or taking a refreshing dip in that pool. Don't forget to take a look up at your trees for dead branches or large limbs hanging right over the house. Uh-oh. Better have a Ray's Tree Service arborist come by for a free no-obligation estimate. Ray's will keep your trees and your property looking great all summer. Call 314-821-2665 or visit raystreeservice.com. That's raystreeservice.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Meep, meep. It's about 7 minutes before 5 o'clock. Captain Paul, how's traffic?
Well, Heidi, the good news is we have no active accidents, but southbound 270 is heavy from north of Olive down to Manchester. Southbound 55 congested from Potomac to South Broadway. Southbound 170 is crowded from Delmar down to 64. Eastbound 64 is busy from McKnight to near Big Bend. And westbound 64 is stop and go from Boyle past Hampton. This traffic report is brought to you by Stages St. Louis. Get your tickets today for the next Stages production, Austin's Pride, a new musical of Pride and Prejudice starting this Friday, July 25th. Individual tickets on sale now, and more information is available at stagesstlouis.org. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Okay, you guys. You know, on this show, that I'm the guy that whenever some piece of art sells for a ridiculous amount of money, like Picasso sold for $400 million.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about that banana taped to a wall.
Well, I am.
Or the guy that sat on the chair.
Yeah.
I am.
Oh.
But let me preface it by saying that I think that the art world is just a giant money laundering scheme. It's the only thing that it can explain any of this, right?
I don't necessarily disagree.
Which takes us back to the comedian, Heidi, is the name of the
banana
duct tape to the wall. It was sold at auction for $6.24 million.
Yes.
Okay, we remember that. Basically, all it is the rights to display a banana on a blank white wall with a piece of duct tape.
Mm-hmm.
Because the banana itself is, what?
Edible.
59 cents?
Yeah, and it's going to rot.
And it's going to rot.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
And the duct tape.
And you're going to have gnats.
You can go to
Fruit
Schnarr's.
flies.
Yeah.
Go to Schnarr's, buy some duct tape. On July 12th of this month, a art gallery in Eastern France was displaying the $6 million piece of work.
Mm-hmm.
And to Heidi's point, somebody took it off the wall and ate it.
Which, honestly, I feel like it should be done every once in a while to prevent the fruit flies and gnats.
It says the security team acted quickly and calmly. According to internal procedures, the gallery has not filed a police report yet. I don't know what the file would be. Minor theft.
I don't know.
I don't know.
You know,
at that amount of money, it's got to be grand theft.
I mean, Lars, well,
Grand theft banana.
Are you charging them for the $6.5 million for the artwork or for the 59 cents of the banana? It has happened more times than this, and more times than we could probably start to count on one hand.
I think it becomes kind of performance art.
Mm-hmm. It does seem that way to me as well.
The art gallery in question, though, has a good sense of humor about it. They say, for now, it is probably the most eaten artwork of the last 30 years.
Yeah.
Fair.
Which
they can claim it.
Prior to this, what was the most eaten artwork? We don't know.
Back in the days when I was young, I'm not a kid anymore. But some days I sit and wish I was a kid again.
But if it ever comes to the art museum, who's taking the bite?
Not taking the bite, but I will go see it just to say that I did.
I'll pull it off the wall.
No, you will not.
Depending on what this guy gets, what kind of time this guy gets.
Yeah.
On this date, July 22nd, back in the day, Cleveland, Ohio was founded.
Huh.
And what date?
July 22nd. That's today, 1796.
Oh.
So we are older.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We're
I'm
older than
surprised.
Cleveland. In 1893, America the Beautiful was written by Catherine Lee Bates, professor at Wellesley College. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies.
For amber waves of grain, Josh, and you know where she wrote it.
Purple Mountain's Majesty, while she was looking at
the fruited plains as she stood atop Pikes Peak.
That is correct.
Huh.
That is. Does it have a plaque up there?
It does, actually.
That's cool.
Yeah.
They redid the structure at the top. It's brand new. It's beautiful. And
just to take that in for a second.
It's really neat. They did a great job with it. Yeah.
And in 1994, on this date, O.J. Simpson pleaded 100% not guilty to double
But if he
murder
did
charges.
it, this is how he would have done it.
Yeah.
Did you buy the book?
I did not buy the book.
Gosh. All right, you guys. Coming up, we're going to talk to Dr. Gerald Early. He's the author of Play Harder, The Triumph of Black Baseball in America. He's going to be at the St. Louis County Library, the Clark Family Branch, tonight at 7. But we get a chance to talk to him here first. So I hope you'll hang out with us for another hour here on the Heidi Glaus Show with the whole gang back together, Bob and Josh on the Big 550 KTRS St. Louis.
Galmish & Sons have been providing quality heating and cooling services since 1950. They work exclusively with Lennox, the preferred choice of St. Louis homeowners. Call Galmish & Sons for your next Lennox HVAC installation and service. 314-993-1110.
The storms are back, the wind, the hail, the damage to the roof. And when the roof gets damaged, who do you call? You call John Bill Roofing. But the storms are back. You know who else follows the storms? The storm chasers. These are the teams of people who come and leave a note on your door, mailbox, maybe your windshield wiper, and they tell you to call, and you think you're getting a deal. You give them half the money, and you never see them again. With John Bill Roofing, they've been in this business for a long time right here in St. Louis. They live, work, and play, and they guarantee you to give you the best price on your roof. When the roof gets damaged, your first phone call is to John Bill Roofing, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, or johnbillroofing.com. Roofing, siding, gutters, John Bill Roofing. Residential, commercial, industrial, a company you can trust, a company that lives, works, and plays right here in St. Louis. Make it local. Make it John Beal or johnbillroofing.com. How's your bathroom? Cracked tiles, outdated fixtures, a tub that's seen better days? Yeah, we all know the feeling. At Michael's Baths, they specialize in affordable bathroom remodeling that fits any budget and any lifestyle. You want a walk-in shower? You betcha. Better storage or a fresh modern look? Simple, clean, and budget-friendly. No surprises, no gimmicks, and most importantly, no pressure. Call Michael's Baths today for a free estimate, 636-775-0800 or michaelsbaths.com.
The home of ABC News. KTRS AM, FM 1061, K291CW St. Louis.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. As calls grow for the Justice Department to release all the Jeffrey Epstein files, a House panel approved a motion for the GOP chair to subpoena Epstein's co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell. Now the DOJ is also pushing to talk with Maxwell.
It's a stunning announcement from the number 2 in the Justice Department, who previously served as Donald Trump's defense attorney. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche now says he hopes to meet with Ghislaine Maxwell to see if she believes anyone else should be prosecuted. Maxwell, Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend, is currently serving a 20-year prison sentence, and she's the only person other than him to ever be charged with sex trafficking. In a statement earlier this month, the DOJ and FBI said they'd seen no evidence implicating anyone else.
ABC's Stephen Portnoy. Aid groups in Gaza are warning of potential famine. The UN says humanitarian aid is so scarce, people are collapsing in the streets of Gaza. Israeli forces are stepping up operations in central Gaza. At the same time, high-level Gaza ceasefire talks are underway in the Middle East. ABC's Tom Soufi-Burridge says the White House has sent Special Envoy Steve Witkoff to help reach an agreement.
The way these things work is that you have low-level negotiations up to this kind of point. Yes, the war goes on. There's no end in sight. But yes, a glimmer of hope that the president's envoy is going to the region and that those negotiations might yield something.
Black Sabbath frontman Ozzy Osbourne has died. His family says the British heavy metal icon passed away surrounded by love. In 2019, Osbourne was diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. Ozzy and his wife Sharon Osbourne spoke with ABC's Chris Connolly in 2022 about having 9 lives, his hard partying days in the band.
Ozzy is patient number 9. You have the 9 lives of a cat, don't you?
He's got more than that, let me tell you.
I mean, I should have been dead a long time ago.
Ozzy Osbourne was 76. You're listening to ABC News.
When you're hiring, have you ever felt like you're missing out on meeting truly great candidates for your roles? It seems impossible to find them, but they have to be out there somewhere, right? Well, they're not hard to find when you know where to go, and that place is ZipRecruiter. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day. And because these people are actively looking for jobs just like yours, it's easy to find the right person right away. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. But if you're not using ZipRecruiter, you're missing out. So see what it's like when the impossible is easy. When you go to ZipRecruiter.com/free right now to try ZipRecruiter for free. Once again, that's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free. Never miss out on great candidates with ZipRecruiter.
91 degrees at 5:03 with KTRS News. I'm Steve Potter. Dangerous heat continues in the region. Health officials are urging the public to take precautions to avoid heat-related illnesses. Those in need of a cooling shelter should call the United Way at 211. We'll have a look at today's forecast coming up. The St. Charles County Fair officially begins later today and runs through Saturday at Rotary Park in Wentzville. An opening ceremony will be held at 5:30, followed by events including a tractor pull, mini golf, and carnival rides. Tomorrow's events begin with a poultry judging contest. There's been an upgrade to the siren warning system in St. Louis County.
St. Louis County has upgraded its outdoor warning siren system. The previous system required 3 phases with humans activating each phase, and when the sirens were sounded, they went off everywhere in the county regardless of which part was at risk. The new system integrates directly with the National Weather Service polygon warnings. Also, St. Louis County is now divided into 3 geographic zones, and sirens will only sound in the impacted areas. And to ensure reliability, the County Bureau of Communications will remain staffed and ready to activate sirens manually if needed. Sobey Bay, KTRS News.
The Missouri House of Representatives has announced its schedule for a series of informational hearings to be held across the state. According to Representative Tim Taylor, the Special Interim Committee on Property Tax Reform will examine Missouri's property tax system and recommend solutions that promote fairness, transparency, and sustainability. He encourages all Missourians to attend the meeting in their area. In the St. Louis region, that will be August 20th at 5:30 p.m. at the center of Clayton at 50 Gay Avenue. A bill cracking down on squatters in Illinois is set to become law. Governor J.B. Pritzker signed the state's squatter bill into law yesterday. It makes it easier for police to remove squatters from someone's home. St. Louis Public Schools will consider a plan at tonight's Board of Education meeting to close more than half of its campuses to address declining attendance.
According to the St. Louis Post-Dispatch, a proposal to close 37 of the district's 68 schools is set to be presented to the school board at tonight's meeting. The plan does not specify which campuses would close, but most would be elementary schools. Now, if the plan is approved, the closure would happen by the 2026-27 school year. Tonight's meeting will be held at the district's central office at 6:30. Jill Enders, KTRS News.
And the Teen Center of Excellence of the Boys and Girls Clubs of Greater St. Louis is hosting a tornado relief donation drive. Donated personal care items and non-perishable food will be accepted through Friday at the Teen Center, which is located at 9200 West Florissant in Ferguson. This KTRS Business Minute brought to you by Walter Knoll Florist, the place for all your floral needs. You can place your order anytime at WKF.com. In the markets, the Dow up 179 points at close to 44,502. NASDAQ down 81 at 20,892. And the S&P 500 up 3 at 6,309. And now let's throw it to Paul for KTRS Sports and Traffic.
Steve, the Cardinals send Eric Fetty to the mound for Game 2 of a 3-game series tonight in Colorado. Last night, Michael McGreevy was terrific in another spot start, going 7 innings in a 6-2 win over the Rockies. Wilson Contreras had 3 hits, including his 13th home run. And SLU basketball will officially play Santa Clara as part of the Acrisure series in Palm Springs on Thanksgiving. The Bills would play the winner of Minnesota and Stanford the next day. I'm Paul Kopsky from the Royal Banks of Missouri Sports Desk, and now on to traffic. Southbound 270 is heavy from north of Olive down to Manchester. Southbound 55 congested from Potomac to South Broadway. Eastbound 70 bogs down at the depressed section. Eastbound 64 is heavy from 170 to near Big Bend. And westbound 64 is running slow from Kings Highway past Hampton. This traffic report is brought to you by Dents Express. If the recent storms have you saying, oh, hail, bring your car, truck, SUV, or van to Dents Express for a free hail damage repair evaluation. Dents Express will have your ride looking like new again, and they'll even take care of the insurance paperwork. That's Dents Express at dentsexpressstl.com. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
An extreme heat warning remains in effect until 7 p.m. on Thursday. Otherwise, we have a 20% chance for an isolated shower today, an overnight low of 78. Then sunny and hot again tomorrow. Tomorrow's high near 97 with heat index values as high as 107. At 5:08, mostly cloudy, 91 degrees at the Gold Tower at Westport. Steve Potter, KTRS News, the talk of St. Louis.
KTRS and the Salvation Army Christmas in July toy drive is in full swing. We've had 2 great movie nights here at Westport, but still need your help to support the Salvation Army and the Angel Tree Town program. Last year, they were able to provide gifts for over 6,500 children in St. Louis City and St. Louis County. This year, we need your help as well. KTRS and the Salvation Army will continue collecting new unwrapped toys all month long. Toys can be dropped off here at Westport at the KTRS Studios or at the Rawlings Experience. Look for the big white boxes and join us in supporting the Salvation Army by dropping off a new unwrapped toy.
The KTRS Salvation Army Christmas in July is presented by Rawlings, the St. Louis Cardinals, Royal Banks of Missouri, Alter Travel and Cruises, and Ryan Raphael.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Award-winning author Dr. Gerald Early, in collaboration with the National Baseball Hall of Fame, are looking at the way Black Americans shaped baseball. And Dr. Early will be at the Clark Family Branch of the St. Louis County Library tonight. But first, we get a chance to chat with him. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Play Harder, the Triumph of Black Baseball in America showcases the black stars of the game. What else do we learn in your book?
Well, we learn about how Black people started playing baseball right after the Civil War. We learn about Black people not only forming teams, but also forming leagues, and how that business structure worked in the Black community. And we also learn about the integration of baseball and the ongoing process of Black players playing in the major leagues today.
Who founded the Negro National League?
It was founded by a man named Andrew Rube Foster in 1920. It had always been for a long time a dream of his to form a league. He said that Black baseball will never be able to be taken seriously unless Black people can form a league. And so he finally was able to. There were many efforts before this, but finally he was able to do it in 1920.
And how was it accepted at that point?
Well, I think people were. Black people were excited about it. It was a business venture. It was showing that Black people were organized and they could do something, and that they could develop players for this game. Now, of course, it is a game, a sport, so there were, Black people said, well, this isn't terribly important. I mean, somebody playing a sport. But on the other hand, for many Black people, it was an opportunity to construct a business and to do something positive in the community, and to do something where you're giving hero figures to young Black children.
Yeah, and what was the story? Who was it that Ed Charles saw? I guess it was Hank Aaron as a little kid, and seeing somebody that looks like you in whatever field you want to be in, and in this particular case, sports, that's really important for nurturing the game with younger people.
Yeah, it is. Baseball is a game that, you need to connect to when you're young. Very often the case is that young kids are brought out to see the game, sometimes by a male figure in their family, father, grandfather, something like that. But seeing those men out on the field playing, as accomplished as they are, it's tremendously, for many children, it's tremendously inspiring. It was for me when I was a kid to see Aaron and Mason, players like that,
yep,
and how good they were.
When did Black people in this country start playing baseball, whether it was on their own or in an organized fashion?
We have the earliest dates for Black people playing baseball is organizing a team is in the 1850s, right before the Civil War, but it became a sustained activity after the Civil War, and there were Black teams that were created after the Civil War, and it proliferated as time went along, especially after the 1880s when there was a color line drawn, and so Blacks found it increasingly impossible to play on white teams, and so there was even more organizing of Black teams, but there were lots of Black teams that were organized in the latter part of the 19th century.
And Dr. Early, I mean, can you just elaborate a little bit on how baseball kind of changed just our social change itself in America? And when we were able to actually see Black people playing there, how had it changed the way we viewed America?
Well, I guess the biggest story with that would be Jackie Robinson,
Of
who
course.
integrated Major League Baseball and certainly is one of the big heroes. And certainly his story about integrating baseball is the biggest sports story that we have. Nobody has any stories about the integration of National Football League, which happened, or the NBA, but baseball, because baseball is such has such a importance in American culture that Jackie Robinson integrating the game was this big, huge moment in race relations in this country. But even before that, when black people had formed the Negro Leagues, there was considerable sense of black people having a certain amount of success and achievement just creating the leagues and being able to sustain the leagues for as long as they did.
Dr. Early, it's I love the story and obviously the movie and many books about Jackie Robinson. And in my view, Dr. Early, it's maybe the only time baseball and its group of owners was ahead of social consciousness. That doesn't happen very often in that game. But
well, it was really only one owner. That was Branch Rickey.
That was Branch Rickey. That's right. But the interesting story that it's a shame it gets lost because he was so good was the first player in the American League, Larry Doby. He was so doggone good, and we don't talk about him enough.
That's very true. Larry Doby came into the game just a couple of months after Robinson did with the Cleveland Indians in 1947. He had a tough way to go, in part because he was not an everyday player. And anybody who knows anything about baseball knows that it's got a tougher row to hoe when you're not playing every day. And he really struggled because he was trying to prove himself and because of the burden of his race and everything else. And eventually he would have a tremendous career, wind up being in the Hall of Fame. But the big break that Larry Doby got was that his manager, Lou Boudreau, did not send him back to the minor leagues when he was struggling. He stuck with him. And the show of confidence that Lou Boudreau had in him helped Larry Doby a lot in succeeding.
Before the game kind of came together and was integrated, were the rules exactly the same? Were the fields the exact same dimensions? Was anything different?
Well, fields can vary. Most of for the Negro National League and the Eastern Colored League, the very top echelon black leagues, most of those games were played in major league stadiums when the major league teams weren't there. They rented the stadiums and they played there. So they were playing on, by and large, they were playing on major league fields because most of the teams did not. Only a couple of black teams had their own fields. So they were playing on major league fields. So they were playing on conditions that were very similar. The very top Negro leagues were playing on conditions that were very similar to what white major league players were playing. And the rules were the same. The rules were the same. The style of playing was a little different, but the rules were the same.
So the integration of baseball, Hattie McDaniel winning the Academy Award, all of the musicians that came up in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s even, would you say that culture and sport helped pave the way for civil rights in the 60s?
Oh, I think there's no question about it. Black people have made their biggest impact in this country through culture, through sports, through music, and even to a considerable degree in literature. They made their impact in places of culture, and I think that that has had a lot to do with the civil rights movement and the success of the civil rights movement, because these particular people who succeeded, the musicians who succeeded, the athletes who succeeded, because they were in popular culture and because they became huge success. People in popular culture, they're a little bit larger than life, and they're almost have, if you're a fan of them, they're almost mythical to you. And so you had these black people, these charismatic black people who are out here succeeding in these areas, and I think it had a lot to do with black people having success with the civil rights movement because of those people.
Like you, I was very fortunate to get to know Buck O'Neill a little bit. And I love telling the story about, I bring this story up because on the cover of your book, it's Willie Mays sliding into home. And everybody who saw Willie play said he was the best that ever played. And so one day at spring training, I asked Buck that question: is Willie Mays the best player ever? And Buck got that really kind of funny smirk on his face, and he goes, "Best major league player?" And I fell right into his trap. I go, "Well, yes, of course." And he goes, "Yes, he was the best major league player." And then he paused, and I go, "Okay, what's coming next?" And he said, "But the best player ever was Oscar Charleston." And I loved just that. Meant a lot to me for him to talk to me about the game before I was able to witness it.
Yeah, he told me the same thing. You know, Oscar Charleston was a tremendous player. In fact, Bill James rates him in the top 5 of professional baseball players in the history of the game in this country. And he was a tremendous player, a very intense player. Just could hit home runs, could hit for power. Was an intimidator on the field. He was a tremendous athlete, and it's a shame that he doesn't get as much recognition as he should for as great a player as he
Agreed.
Maybe you found this out in your research for the book, or as a professor here at WashU. Good to have a mind like yours here just down the road. Did sports integrate a lot earlier in other countries? Were sports segregated in Europe for any given time?
That's an interesting question. I'd have to say that sports was baseball, as you know, was and continues to be a very popular sport in certain Caribbean countries, in certain Latin American places. In Mexico, baseball has always been very popular. Cuba has always been baseball crazy. In certain Latin American countries, baseball. Puerto Rico, baseball is very popular. So in that regard, baseball, there's always been a kind of international flavor to it, and it's always been, in that regard, integrated with Black Latino players, and Black American players would often play in those places. I wouldn't necessarily say in Europe that, from what I know, that there was necessarily a great deal of integration in sports, any more so than in the United States. That's also because there weren't a great number of Black people in Europe for a very long time. I mean, there's a bigger number of Black people in Europe now than, let's say, 200 years ago. But the sport that probably was the most integrated in Europe, interestingly enough, was probably prize fighting.
Interesting.
That is interesting. Well, you can hear more from Dr. Gerald Early and have a copy of Play Harder, The Triumph of Black Baseball in America, signed tonight when he is at the Clark Family Branch of the St. Louis County Library right there on Lindbergh. You can, of course, find his books at Left Bank Books. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Do you know why right now is the absolute best time to book your new patio or deck with my friends at Outdoor Living? Aside from being the best in town, these guys are really smart. They pay attention to market conditions, and they've stocked up on patio and deck supplies, including steel, all before these tariffs kicked in. So while their competitors' pricing has gone through the roof, prices have never been better at Outdoor Living. Now is the best time to call and book your summer job. Not to mention, these same competitors have sold out to large conglomerates and hedge funds. Pat Leahy and his team remain locally owned and operated, providing the best pricing and the best service in town. So, looking for a new deck or a new fence or anything outdoor? Outdoor Living, 314-966-DECK. That's 314-966-DECK. Or check them out online, Outdoor Living Inc., or check out their great showroom, Big Bend and I-44 in Kirkwood, OutdoorLivingInc.com.
Gingham's Homestyle Restaurant has been a staple in St. Charles for 35 years. Our comfortable, casual atmosphere offers some of the best comfort food you've ever had. Customers might know our delicious breakfast, but you can have whatever you want, anytime you want, with our full menu 24 hours a day. Nothing warms your heart like Gingham's famous vegetable soup, and we can cater your event, too. If you like homestyle food and great friendly service, you'll love Gingham's Restaurant in St. Charles. 636-946-0266 or ginghamsrestaurant.com.
Back to school is on the brain. That means new notebooks, pencils, new everything. And while the kids are getting ready to get book smart, it's time for you to save smart with Straight Talk Wireless. Switch now and get a free Moto G 2025 with 5G when you activate select plans. Now that's a smart call. Get Straight Talk covered by Verizon's 5G network. Available at straighttalk.com and Walmart. Offer valid through 10/19/25. Taxes and fees apply. Purchase of gold unlimited plan or higher required for offer. Must activate the plan in-store at Walmart. Cannot be combined with other offers.
Dr. Joe, it can get very confusing, but the one thing we need to know is GLP-1, right? That's the magic cure.
Yeah, they're on the med, and these medications are used, these GLP-1s, for reducing inflammation in your body. I get so many folks that are like, wow, I don't have the knee pain. I don't have the...
Because once you start losing weight, all these other things naturally happen to you in a positive way. Not just talk about the deals for KTRS listeners at stlmedweightloss.com.
All KTRS listeners, they get $50 to $100 off their first month. And what's beautiful about it too, hey, I get it. The economy, what we just had, guys, things are difficult right now, but we make the plan work for you. We have financing options. We make this work for you because we realize how important it is to get down in your weight, get your confidence back, and really start feeling like the old you.
Call stlmedweightloss.com and ask Dr. Joe. stlmedweightloss.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Before you put your home on the market, before you have to pay money fixing it up to sell it, before you have to pay real estate commissions, call me. I'm Mike Robinson with Robank Properties, and I will buy your home. Any property, any condition, anywhere, and always as is. Call me, Mike Robinson with Robank Properties at 314-283-0867. That's 314-283-0867. You have nothing to lose when you call Robank Properties at 314-283-0867.
Progressive Insurance. Progressive can protect your home, auto, boat, motorcycle, ATV, RV, and more. In short, a lot of things. Bundle today at progressive.com.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
I've got the sweet side of St. Louis, and then I just have the sort of weird, wacko side. Which one do you want first?
Let's do the sweet.
The sweet. Well, Florida Panthers forward, of course, St. Louis native Matthew Tkachuk brought the Stanley Cup back to St. Louis once again. Yesterday morning, he took it to St. Louis Children's Hospital to share it with patients and their families. And this is the second time he's brought the Stanley Cup to St. Louis Children's Hospital. Last year after winning, he started his day the exact same way. In addition to stopping by the hospital, which I just love, he took the Stanley Cup to the Brentwood Police Department and O.B. Clark's, which O.B. Clark's has become kind of the stop on the Stanley Cup tour. So you have the suite, and then you have Tanya Haddix, the Missouri woman who, of course, was at the center of that high-profile legal battles and the controversies over her exotic animal ownership.
Oh, right.
Specifically, the chimpanzees. She appeared in federal court
the chimp lady
earlier today, where we learned she was hiding yet another chimp at her home. At what point do you just say, have you not learned? What is going on?
I don't want Mr. Dorsey to be sued, but she seems nutty.
I mean, if you're keeping a chimp hidden in your home, definitely.
After all of the legal entanglements she's already been through.
Yeah, and I don't think you're the first to call her that, because she did gain national notoriety as the focus of the HBO docuseries Chimp Crazy.
Yeah.
So now we'll see what's next as far as this goes. So This other chimp was in the basement of her Sunrise Beach, Missouri home, which she shares with her husband. The chimp was not registered. And, of course, you're not allowed to keep chimpanzees, especially she isn't because of her bond conditions from prior cases. So she'll be back in court Thursday afternoon for a bond revoke hearing.
Yeah, and other, any exotic animal.
Yeah.
Animals that aren't native to the area, you've got to go through a process.
Absolutely.
Now, hang on. There's a story today, Heidi, I know you printed it off because it says when you get back from vacation, who's the first person you want to see?
Mm-hmm.
And it's your dog, right?
I mean, that's the majority of people.
Yes.
42% of dog owners say that's the best part of vacation, coming home to see their dog.
To see their dogs. Now, doesn't this lady feel the same way about her chimps?
I think she does. I mean, I don't think that's anything to laugh at. I think that she truly does see them.
But she's not gone through the process.
Yeah.
She's a scofflaw.
And she has lied about it, and she has done, I mean, there were other cases. I mean, you've got the Tiger King in Oklahoma. I mean, other people have been able to open these sanctuaries, but you can't lie about it, and you can't say that the chimp is dead when it's not. This is a completely different chimp.
And you can hoard, you can say you love cats, but when you start hoarding them, I mean...
When there's 27 cats running around your house, that's...
I mean, there's something else that's going on at that point.
Yeah.
So, do you miss your dog when you're on vacation, Heidi?
We have conversations about, like, Georgie, and usually depending on who she's staying with, we'll get a picture of her walking or, cuddled up with somebody. So I would say, yeah, we probably do miss her.
I thought you said you would have conversations with the dog while you're...
That's not what I said.
Maybe.
Yeah.
I put Georgie on the phone. Oh, who's a good girl? Who's a good girl?
I'm sure people do.
Just not this people.
Yeah, just not this one.
Okay, put Grandma back on the phone.
531. Somebody on the text line, they only go on vacation with their dog. And I will say, 95% of the time, Georgie is with us.
I saw a lot
because
of them.
you have
with RV.
You're driving your home.
That's right.
I saw a lot of them at the airport. I saw a lot of them in Vegas.
Yeah.
I mean, there's dog-friendly hotels, right?
It's called Bring Fido. You can look up all kinds of restaurants. You can look up hotels and Airbnbs. It's all listed right there. Right now, we need to know about traffic. Captain Paul, what do you see?
Heidi, I see a crash on westbound 70 past Jennings Station, blocking the two left lanes with traffic backed up to North Broadway. Estimated clearance time is 6:05. Southbound 270 is heavy from north of Olive down to Manchester. Southbound 55 congested and stop and go at times from Potomac to South Broadway. Eastbound 70 bogs down at the depressed section downtown. Eastbound 64 is busy around 170. And westbound 64 is running slow in front of Forest Park and from 170 to Lindbergh. This traffic report is brought to you by Neighbors Credit Union. If you're ready to upsize, downsize, or first-time home buy, turn to the team at Neighbors Credit Union. At Neighbors Credit Union, you'll find great rates, expert advice, and personalized friendly service throughout the entire home loan process and beyond. That's just what you'd expect from a great neighbor. Apply online today at neighborscu.org. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
I learned about Bring Fido, the website, when we were in Springfield, Illinois last year, and we had her in our RV, and we were going to go a little bit further, and we couldn't take our RV. We were leaving it in Springfield, and I had to find a hotel that was good for Georgie, and Bring Fido comes with all kinds of interesting little tidbits. But I got to tell you, we could have stayed even longer in Springfield, Illinois. The food, the architecture, the history, it is all right there. And just an hour and 15 minutes 20 minutes from downtown St. Louis. I mean, it's long been a favorite for a quick day trip, but I'm not sure people know just how much is there and how you can really make it a multi-day getaway. Of course, there's that rich presidential history. You've got a charming downtown. Like I mentioned, you got so many great restaurants, and then you got some really cool scenic outdoor spaces. I love the Lincoln Memorial Garden, which is right there by the lake, and you can kind of walk the path. But it's really cool, and it can be adventurous to kind of blend in the history and the culture and the relaxation, all just a short drive away. You can actually walk with Lincoln as history comes alive. You can get a full day of that Route 66 nostalgia, which is always so fun. You've got the mural and the Wayside exhibit. You've got the Legends Neon Sign Park. I mean, they really have done a great job to kind of keep you entertained, keep you in the know, and keep you fed. And what they've even done is made your own itinerary, so you don't even really have to think. You just kind of print it off and show up. And I'm talking about visitspringfieldillinois.com. You can go online there, visitspringfieldillinois.com, and they'll have different itineraries set up for you and even suggest where to grab a bite or a snack. And if you want to keep it indoors because it's hot, or if you want to be outdoors, you'll find it all right there. Visit springfieldillinois.com.
And now, KTRS weather from the John Beal Roofing Weather Desk.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. A slight chance for a spot shower, thunder shower until the sun sets. Otherwise, the big focus is on the heat as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. It will be hotter and still very humid. So low of 77 on Wednesday, a high of 98, and the heat index in the 105 to 110 range. Dangerously hot. That's why we have a First Alert weather day. It'll be mostly sunny. And then Thursday, mostly sunny. And again, 98 with a heat index in that 105 to 110 range. That's the latest from the First Alert 4 Weather Center. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton for the Big 550 KTRS.
John Beal Roofing is the home of the lowest price roofing guarantee. Get a free estimate today at johnbealroofing.com.
Hi, it's Jill Farmer. This note came in on our text line recently on the Frank and Jill show. You need to know that Ryan Raphael helped me with my senior insurance plan. He was such a gentleman, so helpful, knowledgeable, and kind. I can't thank him enough, and I heard about him on KTRS. I love that text because Ryan Raphael is the Medicare man. He's absolutely the best person to call to help you through the often confusing process of finding the right Medicare plan for you. He loves helping people, walking them through the overwhelm of, I don't know how to choose the best plan for me, or I did choose a plan based on the recommendation of a well-meaning friend or family member, and now I don't think it's actually the right one for me. Ryan Raphael is the best at matching you with a plan that lets you keep your own physicians and keep your prescriptions. It's like having the highest quality consultant on your team. The best news, it's free to you. Under the law, his fees are paid by the insurance companies. Go to MedicareManSTL.com or call 314-368-6808. That's Ryan Raphael's cell phone number just for you. Hi, it's Jill Farmer for Premier Heating and Cooling. Summer temps sure put our air conditioners to the test. A few years ago, before I knew about Premier Heating and Cooling, our air conditioner was on its last legs. We decided to push the envelope and try to limp through another St. Louis summer before replacing it. We went away on vacation and came back to discover our air conditioning unit had gone on the fritz while we were gone, and we ended up with all kinds of trouble, including warped wood floors. That delay in replacing our worn-out unit was an expensive mistake. If you're limping through and you know it's time for a replacement unit, our friends at Premier Heating and Cooling can take care of you and even work with you on financing. Or if you haven't taken the time to really get your air conditioner checked out and make sure it's operating at peak efficiency, which will really help on your bills and help with the life of your air conditioning unit, Premier Heating and Cooling is the place to go. Excellent rating with the Better Business Bureau. So many of their new customers are referred by happy customers like me. PremierHeatingCooling.net. 636-916-1122.
A big KTRS shout out to Lacey Lumber, family owned and family operated since 1872. Lacey Lumber has built the St. Louis metropolitan area. They've worked with builders and contractors and homeowners. They provide building materials from soup to nuts. 2 hardware stores in Belleville ready to serve you. Millwork, insulating material, wallboard, roofing materials, you name it, Lacey Lumber can help because Lacey Lumber is just that much better. LaceyLumber.com.
When you pay for tree work, you want to be sure you're getting the most for your hard-earned money. That's why you should always use the ISA-certified arborist at River City Tree Service in Baldwin, Missouri. Hi, I'm Steve with River City Tree Service, and we've been the go-to tree service since 2008. Tree removal, tree trimming, storm damage, deadwood removal, stump grinding, and more. Give River City Tree Service a call for all your tree service needs at 314-270-8071. That's 314-270-8071. River City Tree Service.
Andy from Hats and Stuff. We're helping to support the KTRS Big 550 Christmas in July drive this week by offering a 10% discount on anything purchased and then donated to the big box in front of my store at Westport Plaza. We have thousands of ball caps, t-shirts, stuffed animals, and much more for under $20 that can help benefit anyone who may have lost everything in the tornado in May. Follow your heart and open your wallets for this great cause. Located at Westport Plaza, across from the Drunken Fish and the Kobe Steakhouse and the Soulard Farmers Market on Saturdays. Hats and Stuff. Good stuff at really great prices.
Ho, 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 hats and stuff. Hats and stuff. Hats and stuff. You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
Let's talk a little entertainment news. Yesterday, it was Malcolm Jamal Warner. Today, we're mourning the death of Ozzy Osbourne, the legendary rock star, Black Sabbath frontman, and reality TV personality. He was 76 years old. He was with his family, surrounded by love, according to a statement from them, which also asked everyone to respect our family privacy at this time. It was just a couple of weeks ago that Ozzy performed from a throne at the Black Sabbath farewell concert on July 5th. In January 2020, they revealed that he'd been diagnosed in 2003 with Parkinson's. So
I read a story that, yes, he was there and in his throne, but people backstage remarked at how bad he looked.
Well,
and he couldn't walk.
Yeah,
that's why he was in the
anymore.
chair.
And remember the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He made a similar appearance in the chair, and he didn't sing much. I mean, it was just that he's there. But I think what's interesting about him is just all the different kind of lives he's had. I didn't know anything. I wasn't a heavy metal person, but of course, I mean, the show, The Osbournes on MTV, that was one of the first reality TV shows.
I would say Black Sabbath is the first heavy metal band
that you ever really got into.
Period.
In general.
Oh, I don't know about that. Led Zeppelin,
hard rock. I'm going to split hairs with you.
Oh, I'm going to put that hair under a microscope. Okay. I will say this. I think Ozzy Osbourne is the most underrated rock vocalist. I think his rock singing voice was truly brilliant.
Yeah.
Him and Paul Rodgers and a couple other guys. But Ozzy Osbourne, he's mentioned for hits and who he was and personality, but I thought he was a great hard rock lead singer.
Yeah.
I thought he was terrific.
It's so interesting to see the people that are coming out and saying what a great guy he was and how funny. Elton John, and I mean, just all the people saying kind of the same thing, Bob, that he was more than what we even probably noticed.
Show.
Yeah,
he was a real singer. He was tremendous.
Melissa Rivers says her mom, Joan, had really bad social anxiety because of the tremendous pressure to be funny. She said that Joan's sense of humor was quite different when she wasn't working. She also said that her parents did not want her to follow them into the entertainment business. So,
what do you think Joan Rivers was like at dinner? You know, family dinner. You know, was she cutting people down?
It sounded like when you would see her and Melissa interact, that there was probably a lot of acerbic interchanges and shots, but meant in love and accepted that way.
And probably that is the love language as far as that goes. St. Louis native John Goodman, one of the voices in the new Smurf movie, he did an interview with People magazine, talked about wanting to play football at Missouri State, where he, of course, went to college. He said he got injured and then he didn't have the great grades. He soon traded the gridiron plays for stage plays, threw himself in to the school's theater program. He said after graduation, he moved to the Big Apple to pursue his dream of becoming a professional actor. He said the early days of acting were frightening. He went straight from school to New York City 50 years ago. This summer, he said, I had to go because if I didn't, I would kick myself in the rear end for the rest of my life. So it was just a matter of saying that at least I tried. He made his Broadway debut in 1985 with the Huckleberry Finn musical Big River. He appeared in movies like The Revenge of the Nerds, Raising Arizona, but of course it was Roseanne that put him on the map, became a household name. It premiered in 1988. He said he went in to read with Roseanne the first time, and he said, I never do this, but I walked out of there knowing I had the job. It was just too good of a fit. And I think
they were great together.
They were great together. Mariah Carey's 16th album is officially on the way. It's called Here for It All. It comes out September 26th. She released the album's lead single last month called Type Dangerous. I don't even know that I've heard it, but this is her first album since 2018 and the first with a new label. So she says this next chapter is about owning my narrative and creating freely on my own terms.
So John Goodman didn't really break out. 1984 was Revenge of the Nerds. He was the coach.
And I didn't see that at the theater. Raising Arizona was my first real awareness
of him.
If 50 years ago was the anniversary of him pursuing, he spent a good 10 years.
Oh, working like a dog.
I read that he did a lot of voiceover work and just anything he could get
to just keep his toe in those waters. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's the story of a lot of actors. If you are just going out there to be famous, good luck.
Right.
You have really got to love the work.
John Hamm.
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing him before Mad Men, and he was out there for years.
He had done some things before Mad Men. Kissing Jessica Stein, who he was dating for a while. He had roles in a couple of those things. Bridesmaids, wasn't that before Mad Men?
No, that was well after.
Or during.
During.
It was during.
During?
Yeah. There were other little things. I mean, that's what made him, but he had done some small stuff.
But he was out there a long time as well.
Dolly Parton's new musical just had its first preview in front of a live audience. Dolly was actually there in person to celebrate. It's called Dolly, a true original musical, and it's previewing at the Belcourt Theater in Nashville. This is all in preparation for the show's Broadway debut next year. Dolly and the director said some words before opening night, and as always, Dolly was Dolly. She charmed the crowd, but she also laid down the law. She said, every time you hear a song, you know you're going to want to sing along. Well, don't. This ain't no hootenanny. This is a Broadway musical. So, and Josh, I told Bob yesterday I bought tickets for it later this month. Can't wait. I'm going to take my mom. I'm taking my aunt. So we'll have fun in Nashville.
Okay.
But they do this a lot. They'll preview a show somewhere. A lot of times they preview a show in Chicago and do it for a couple months before it actually goes to Broadway, or sometimes it's San Francisco, or sometimes it's Washington, D.C., and then they kind of tweak some things, and then it opens on Broadway. Tim McGraw, one of the biggest names in country music, but he doesn't think he's the best singer in his own family. He said, I'm the worst singer in my family. And it's true. He said, I'm pretty good, but I am the worst singer in my family. Of course, when you're married to Faith Hill, it makes a little more sense. But now his three daughters, Gracie, Maggie, and Audrey, have all passed him up too. He said, I'd love to do a song with all five of us at some point. I talk about it all the time, and they're like, I'm not singing with you, Dad. Maybe I'll talk them into it. He said they'll probably sing with Mom, but I'm probably not up to par with the rest of them. Audrey, by the way, just opened for Brandi Carlile on her European tour, and she did Barracuda, covered it, and was fantastic.
Really?
Yeah. While we're talking about music, ABBA's Gimme, 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 A Man After Midnight
Great song.
has reached 1 billion streams on Spotify, which is just mind-boggling, but it's so good.
How? That's not like even their most popular.
No, I don't know if it's been used in something, but
one of my personal favorites.
it is a great one.
Madonna sampled it for one of her songs.
Yes.
But I think when it comes to ABBA, I mean, Bob, I could talk all day about this, but
that's kind of sad.
I'd have to go with SOS.
Oh, no.
Number one.
I'm Money, Money, Money. I mean, that's a good one. Actor James Cromwell, from Babe, said he went vegan 2 days into filming Babe. Never looked back. Yeah.
Wow.
So, back then, I don't think the animals were AI generated. They were real.
Yeah, they were real.
So.
And when they start talking to you, you can't really eat them after that.
It's hard to eat. Eat something that's had a conversation with you.
Hell, I would agree, unless you're Jeffrey Dahmer.
Heidi goes dark.
Heidi, he was
dark.
It was on this date. He was arrested. I wasn't
Really?
going to share it.
Should have. That film came out 30 years ago, and this week marks the 30th anniversary of Clueless. And BuzzFeed put together a list of some interesting behind-the-scenes facts. Clueless started as a pitch for a TV series, not a movie.
I could see that.
Which is kind of interesting.
It became a TV series afterwards.
Yes, but not a good one.
Syndicated. Yeah.
While Alicia Silverstone ended up with the role, Reese Witherspoon, Kerry Russell, Tiffany Thiessen all auditioned for it. So that's kind of interesting.
Yep.
Ben Affleck and Zach Braff tried out for the role of Josh, who ultimately it went to Paul Rudd. During the filming, Paul Rudd was robbed at gunpoint in real life, just like Cher was in the movie, which is kind of
did not know that.
Odd. Alicia Silverstone underwent 63 costume changes. Paul Rudd mostly wore his own clothes.
How about that?
Yeah. And then 2 extras who were randomly paired up to make out during a party scene ended up getting married in real life.
Must
Which is
have
kind
been
of
good.
fun. As for TV tonight, just one thing worth mentioning. Fortune Feimster is guest hosting Jimmy Kimmel this evening, and St. Louis native Sterling K. Brown will be one of her guests. What about birthdays today?
Birthdays, we got a few. I'm going to start off with one that's a little bit of a stretch. Do either of you recognize the name Franca Potente?
No.
No, but
I
tell
first saw her in a German film. Look at me, all hoity-toity.
Uh-huh.
A German film, Run Lola Run, which is really good. And then she was in The Bourne Identity and The Bourne Supremacy. So is that enough to take a guess at how old Franca Potente is?
Run Lola Run was late 90s.
I'm going to say
54.
I was going to say 51.
Bang, got it. 51. Look at Heidi. Very funny guy, very different. David Spade is how old?
60.
63.
Heidi gets this one, 61. Fantastic actor, Willem Dafoe.
71.
74.
He gets this one, 71. Couple more, and that'll be it. Let's go with, how do I pick? Let's go with, from the Eagles, Josh.
Oh,
Don
Josh.
Henley.
Man, they've got to be. I mean, if Paul McCartney's in his 80s, he's getting 79. Don Henley.
81.
You get this one, 78. And this will be the big tiebreaker. One of my all-time favorite filmmakers, Albert Brooks, comedic genius. My favorites, Real Life, Modern Romance, Lost in America, throw in Defending Your Life. I just love Albert Brooks.
Albert Einstein
Yes.
is 84.
87.
Way off, 78.
78? Why did I think he was so much older than that?
He's been doing stuff since the 70s.
Yeah.
so-
And how old was he then? I mean, he was pretty
Yeah.
young when he started.
He was young. He started doing those short films on Saturday Night Live.
Dang.
Born Albert Einstein, and Super Dave Osborne is his brother.
The late Super
Wow.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of a crazy world, isn't it?
It is.
All right, 9 minutes before 6 o'clock. Let's get one final check of traffic on this Tuesday afternoon with Captain Paul.
Heidi, the latest is an accident on northbound 170 past Olive with a stop and go back up to Delmar. There's a crash on eastbound 64 at 141 blocking the 2 left lanes with a stop and go back up to Timberlake Manor. It looks like they've cleared a crash on westbound 70 past Jennings Station, but there is a residual slowdown back to North Broadway. Southbound 270 is crowded from north of Olive down to 64. Southbound 55 is running slow at South Broadway, and eastbound 64 is heavy from McKnight to near Big Bend. This traffic report is brought to you by Sound Health Services. When you need a top doctor for your ear, nose, and throat care, the ENT providers at Sound Health Services can help at one of our 7 area locations. Call 314-722-4204. That's 314-722-4204, or go to soundhealthservices.com. From the KTRS Traffic Center, I'm Captain Paul Kopsky on the Big 550 KTRS.
Got gold? Get green at Jewels on Hampton. Jewels on Hampton pays the most for your precious metals, jewelry, gems, currency, antiques, and collectibles. Jewels on Hampton buys precious and semi-precious gems and stones, scrap gold, and sterling silver. Jewels on Hampton buys and sells paper money, wristwatches, and pocket watches. They even take pianos and cars. To sum up, bring your gold chains, bracelets, rings, coins, dental gold, and more to Jewels on Hampton, 4506 Hampton Avenue in St. Louis. And get green. Online at jewelsonhampton.com.
Foundation cracks come in many different shapes and sizes, vertical, horizontal, diagonally. Is that crack just a crack, or is that crack going to lead to a leak? You need to know the answer. Hi, everybody. McGraw-Millhaven here for Cornerstone Structural Repair and Waterproofing. Who do you call? Who can you trust? Cornerstone Structural Repair and Waterproofing. Call my friend Dale. He is the industry leader. They will accurately assess and fix your crack permanently. 314-262-6277 or stlouisfoundationrepair.com.
Every day another adventure. Our greatest discoveries come when we stop searching. Beneath the endless sky, away from the stress of work, the answer to the ancient Zen mystery, the sound of one hand clapping. Take a trip in an RV from Byerly in Eureka.
For the rest of your life, you gotta be there. Byerly RV.
Everybody loves good barbecue, and everybody wants to know where the next great barbecue place is. And if you're looking for an overnight sensation, it's only taken them 10 years. Three Bay Barbecue and Bakery, Woods Mill and Clayton Road. There is a gas station, West County Phillips 66 gas station. In that gas station, in the back, for 10 years, some of the best barbecue in town. Bring a friend and spread the word. Three Bay Barbecue and Bakery. Don't forget about the bakery. 3baybarbecueandbakery.com.
The proud, honorable men and women of our military are sacrificing their lives and their families for our freedom. Please take the time to remember and pray for our men and women fighting overseas. This salute is courtesy of Accurate Mechanical Contractors. They're our area's industrial expert, serving the greater St. Louis area for over 21 years. They're currently hiring energetic pipe fitters and more. For more information, call 314-291-4336. That's 314-291-4336. Accurate Mechanical Contractors is on the air saluting our troops.
It's Julie Buck here for AAA Travel. Let's talk about their featured vacations. Exclusive AAA Travel curated trips that offer unique travel opportunities, value, experiences that are not usually available off the shelf with other travel agencies or providers. One of the many featured vacation experiences offer a unique side of Italy on a guided tour featuring the treasures of Rome and stunning beauty of the Amalfi Coast. One-of-a-kind experiences with amazing savings. You're going to love this. For more, go to AAA.com/featured vacation.
Hi, Matt Kearns, president of St. Lou Fringe. Grab a festival pass and meet me August 11th through 17th at STL Fringe Fest 25 to experience it all, including the John Hughes Choose Your Own Adventure, parody comedy inspired by all those great 80s movies like Ferris Bueller's Day Off, or A Midsummer Magic, a tale of Puck inspired by Shakespeare's famous comedy, and backed by popular demand, international burlesque superstar Lola Vanella. Grab passes and tickets for STL Fringe Fest today, and I'll see you at the Fringe. STLFringe.org.
Stop feeling embarrassed about thinning hair and start looking and feeling your best with Hair Growth by New Nordic. Available online at Amazon, Walmart.com, and NewNordicUSA.com, or at your local CVS.
You're listening to the Heidi Glaus Show with Josh Gilbert and Bob Ramsey on the Big 550 KTRS.
All right, let's wrap this show up with a random.
All right, the opposite of paranoia is called pronoia. And that is the belief that everyone's involved in a secret conspiracy to help you out.
To help you out?
Yes.
Okay.
So,
wow.
I'd
like to meet
that.
somebody who
feels that way.
Yeah, these guys, they're helping me out.
Yeah.
It'll be fine.
All right. Well, that's a great note to end on. Thank you so much for hanging out with us here on the Big 550 this afternoon. Hopefully you'll meet us right back here starting at 3 o'clock. And until then, see if you can put a smile on somebody's face.
The storms are back, the wind, the hail, the damage to the roof. And when the roof gets damaged, who do you call? You call John Bill Roofing. But the storms are back. You know who else follows the storms? The storm chasers. These are the teams of people who come and leave a note on your door, mailbox, maybe your windshield wiper, and they tell you to call, and you think you're getting a deal. You give them half the money, and you never see them again. With John Bill Roofing, they've been in this business for a long time right here in St. Louis. They live, work, and play, and they guarantee you to give you the best price on your roof. When the roof gets damaged, your first phone call is to John Bill Roofing, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, or johnbillroofing.com. Roofing, siding, gutters, John Bill Roofing. Residential, commercial, industrial, a company you can trust, a company that lives, works, and plays right here in St. Louis. Make it local. Make it John Beal or johnbillroofing.com.
Back to school is on the brain. That means new notebooks, pencils, new everything. And while the kids are getting ready to get book smart, it's time for you to save smart with Straight Talk Wireless. Switch now and get a free Moto G 2025 with